It's Friday here on the Splash Play channel. You know what that means. Time for another Try Draft-a-lon. 3 different best ball sites going for $4.5 million between the $2 million in Underdog's Best Ball Mania, the $2 million in DraftKings Millionaire on there, and of course the $500K from our presenting sponsor over at Drafters. Make sure to check them out if you want to draft with me at the end of the stream. Drafters.com, promo code SPLASH. But let's get into it here. I am in the 5-hole 22nd Best Ball Mania draft. This is actually it might be my 69th Best Ball Mania draft, which not intentional, but obviously, you know, we like the bits here. Let's see. Completed season. Yeah, this is number 69 right here. So Best Ball Mania 69 for me this year. Planning to not do too many Best Ball Manias. Next week while on vacation, probably going to do some slow draft pit bulls next week. Actually might tip off the Discord if you want to get in there, of course, and know whenever I'm doing a draft. Bijan Robinson, the 1-hole here. That's fun for that guy. I really have no issue with that conceptually, other than the fact that Bijan normally go in pick 4, 5, sometimes up to pick 6, 7. A little bit hard to reach for him for me at this time of the year, but I like Bijan. CeeDee Lamb here, one of my least favorite clicks, but I do have to take him sometimes. Jahmyr Gibbs is on the thumbnail. Why not? I like to live up to the thumbnail as always. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm honestly one of those guys I've gotten more excited by the more that I've just thought about him. Also dug into the numbers a little bit. There was some Twitter argument going on in there, and as you guys know, if you watch these streams, to me, Twitter, the place you really don't need to respect many people's opinions on there because they're often incredibly wrong and incredibly loud. But somebody put out a tweet that was going viral about Jahmyr Gibbs and how, like, I don't know how you could take him. Like, David Montgomery's still there. And look, I'm one of the bigger David Montgomery believers out there because he's had a guaranteed role in the trade for a while in terms of the goal line stuff, the being trusted for short yardage things. But last year it started to flip where Gibbs got more of that red zone work, that goal line work. People also kind of mistaken, I think in particular where this tweet kind of annoyed me, was somebody who missed that, like, the end of last year, yeah, Gibbs really went off when Montgomery was gone. But also when Montgomery was there all year, he was still one of the top backs, was on pace for a monster year anyway. So Gibbs to me is one of those guys with the high avoided tackle rate, with the ability to get there, especially on the PPR sites. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a strong click everywhere, and I'm a little bit happier to get him at pick 5 than I would have been, I think, a couple months ago, I would say. I would certainly before have favored Bijan by a good amount because I think Bijan's the kind of back to me that has one of those really legendary years to hit upside wise. But frankly, and I know this might be one of those takes we go back on, and certain weirdos will quote it out of context and go like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking idiot." I like Gibbs ahead of McCaffrey. I think is a really comfortable click for me right now. I just think McCaffrey coming up here going at pick 7 in this room. It's hard for me to ignore that the guy, and I talked about it a little more length yesterday on the combined stochastic streams in my 420 stream on this channel. If you want to check me out, smoking a joint, doing a stream here. Great vibes on a Friday, even though the views for those are awful because I don't start the draft until Drafters fills, which is... but McCaffrey, though, just getting a fractional amount of red zone work last year for the amount that he did play, I don't think that was just the injury stuff. I think that's a bit of a design thing. And not having Jordan Mason there, maybe that changes the equation a little bit. But I'm just not sold McCaffrey's a better click than, I mean, frankly, in the top 3, that's fine. ADP wise, they're ahead anyway. But like is he a better click than Derrick Henry? I think Derrick Henry's a better click. I am also very overexposed to Derrick Henry right now because I've been getting a lot of those 11, 12 hole spots. I've got 22% Derrick Henry right now in BBM across my 68 entries. So if you want that information for Justin Herzig's fantasy best ball, if you want to buy in on Derrick Henry, you can buy in on me by proxy here. We got Jahmyr Gibbs. We could also have the most fun. I mean, look, Brock Bowers here, nice click, a little bit after ADP. Bucky Irving, I think a very fun click as well to get our 2 archetype backs that I like more than most. Oh, I'm having fun. It's Friday. I'll play the RB picky gif. I don't care. Yeah, I've become this person now. Oh, I can't imagine a life where I'm not taking multiple running backs in the first few rounds. I like Bucky too much. I do feel like elite tight end is falling. I was going through the Best Ball Explorer tool, as I mentioned yesterday on the stochastic DraftKings draft that I did. Basically, going through the tool a little bit, I've noticed that McBride is coming down in ADP. Number 1, that's something that's happening in rooms I've been in. Number 2, I take McBride a lot, and I'm losing closing line value on McBride because how his ADP is slightly shifting down. I like Bowers and McBride a lot, but I do think as we get into summer drafting, I think Bucky coming up a little bit would not shock me. I've seen him go with the 1-2 term in enough rooms, that I think that could be a thing you see more reliably. But I think Bowers and McBride coming down to around the late 20s, 30s spot, I just don't think would shock me. So that's the thing that I've been thinking lately. You see here, McBride goes right before me, so I'll be saved from myself, I suppose. Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson. I like both players. Terry McLaurin, if we wanted to set up Jaden, but I don't think that's the move for me here. I think it's Garrett Wilson for me over Harrison in this particular build. I really want to get a standalone receiver who's going to have a viable projection every week. Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, this year, if I had to make the guess in terms of like his DFS weekly DraftKings pricing, I think he's probably going to be about a high 7s, 8K receiver pretty reliably. That's what the target share he'll have in this offense. So there's nobody else out there who's going to earn targets. And I do think Fields showed enough to me last year in Pittsburgh, being a league average passing QB. I think with the Detroit stuff they're bringing into this Jets offense, he's going to do well. But I've talked about it a lot. Garrett Wilson, one of those weird best ball quirks where don't like him very much last year, going at the 1-2 turn. This year, think he's a much better click going late 20s, even mid 20s. You could talk me into certainly over Tyreek Hill. You could talk me into taking Garrett Wilson over T. Higgins in some builds. I don't think Garrett Wilson versus Rashee Rice is an unfair click either. Rashee Rice, certainly great with the opportunities he's had, but Garrett Wilson is going to be the only target, and Rashee Rice is not going to be the only target for KC. I got Chunk here. I'm on the clock, the 2-hole in a slow draft for UBM currently. Struggle to pick Barkley there as a Cowboys fan to a Philly resident. Please advise me, please. You got to take Saquon there. I mean, when you get the 101, I take Chase. When I get the 102, I take Saquon. I mean, that's just my rule of thumb. Exposure-wise for Saquon, I'm not sure I'm crazy high. 12.5% overall across everything. 12% in BBM. So I'm above. But look, what Saquon did last year, and again, this is one of the things that like the Twitter trolls really like key in on me for, even though the entire fucking industry, by the way, didn't the best, at least the content creator industry, was not touting Saquon too much last year. My big thing was that I thought Saquon was really situationally dependent. And I think he was like Baltimore really worked, Philadelphia really worked well for him because they created the yards for contact. That was one thing that stood out the entire year with fantasy points data was that the Eagles just generated a ton of yards for contact. Saquon did well with it. But that said, the fact they were able to do that with him and he was able to capitalize and frankly be the best version of himself besides the avoided tackle rate that was a lot higher when he was younger. The best version of himself on top of that, I think he's certainly a worthwhile click. So like, it's fun to click Justin Jefferson. There's a lot more questions about Justin Jefferson than there are Saquon. Like Saquon having a down year is still going to be one of your better players overall. Tet McMillan here, DK Metcalf. I still like Tet. I wonder if he falls a little bit more in the summer because people just don't like these rookies as much. Don't expect them to be lead target earners. But Tet McMillan, monster target earner in college, I think about a 35% rate. I will pull that up right now. No, 33% target per out run, a little bit lower than I'd said. But great yards after contact overall. Great yards per catch, 15.7 yards per catch. Avoided tackle rate of 32%. The caveat I would give is that those are two stats that Quentin Johnston also looked good at coming out of college. But for Tet McMillan, I just don't think he's a player that I don't see him failing, especially at this price tag. He's not going where Marvin Harrison did. I think if he gives you a Marvin Harrison year last year at 44, you're probably happy with it. If he gives you 8 touchdowns plus, maybe a little more yardage than Harrison did, I think you'd be stoked about it. So I like Tet still. Zero RB Friday is now Friday. I have given up the ghost on Zero RB Friday. I should do some Zero RB streams. The plan is still to increase the volume a little bit more in July and August. I've just been slow rolling because I feel kind of drowned in the amount of best ball content out there. We have a 0-2-2 here. I think we need to keep making it up at receiver. Calvin Ridley, to me, a tier breaker receiver as well. Not a big Jalen Waddle guy, that we could take him for Tampa Bay Miami correlation. But frankly, I prefer Ridley here. Maybe that's take that bites me in the ass. Waddle's still a younger player on the upswing with the big contract for Miami. And certainly the rubber meeting the road a little bit for Miami's offense, I would say, because of the fact that they were so bad last year relatively, even though guys like Achane had really interesting roles. For Calvin Ridley, though, I think getting the Cam Ward glow up that I've talked about a lot on stream. Cam Ward in college, to me, grades out like your CJ Stroud coming out, like Jaden, but not quite as good in terms of the rushing stuff. And also, Jaden was just, to me, the most flawless prospect that we've come across so far. I think that's going to work out well for Ridley. I will say for Ridley, though, in terms of OTAs, there was one report that I'd missed that I was kind of catching up on some stuff and making sure I didn't miss anything, and I missed this. Chigakonkwo was the guy who's apparently targeted the most. I think it's actually on his Underdog blurb, too. So it was a RotoWire one. Chigakonkwo caught the most passes of any player during Tennessee's 5 open practices of OTAs and mandatory minicamp. So that's good for me because I like Chig a lot. But I do think maybe for Calvin Ridley, a slight indoctrination given the fact that Cam Ward has talked about this relationship with Ridley a lot. You want to see Ridley be earning all the targets at practices, especially in open practices too, just to show that he's that alpha dog. I would say that worries me this much, but for Ridley, to me, I don't know. I'm excited about him as a play this year. Was more excited with him going 50s, 60s, pre-draft going 70s, 80s. I think if he goes in the 40s, it becomes a tougher question. But him versus Pickens, I think I'd still favor Ridley. Oh, Piggy RB Fridays. That's sad. It makes me sad, especially I'm feeling fat too. It's like I don't want to be Piggy Friday. It's totally fair and justified in many accounts. Ridley being the main target under Tennessee is what drives me to take him over Waddle. I agree, but look, people like Waddle a lot. I think Waddle's got a lot of touting from market-moving sites, market-moving places like Adam Levitan, I know, has touted him a good amount. I certainly feel like that Waddle's been an okay player overall. I just don't think the Miami situation's cut out for anybody to be great in the pass game this year, but we'll see. All right, we have Jets, Carolina, Tennessee. Got Gibbs and Bucky at RB. Really doesn't feel like a spot we want to add more. I'm going to go Jacoby Myers, not a player I click very often. I did pass up Brock Bowers in this draft, so I feel like getting some... I don't think it matters data-wise for the record, but I think it does psychologically have a thing where if you're building a team, you faded Brock Bowers, getting a player who might benefit if Brock Bowers fails seems like a logical thing to do. And we just want to get that fourth receiver in here. Want to make sure you're getting adequate wide receiver capital when you do a 2 running back start like we did here with Gibbs and Bucky. But I can't resist it. Like if you're telling me, hey, let's start up a Madden franchise today, Gibbs and Bucky would probably be 2 of my favorite kind of backs to play with. Sure, some people out there would go, you got to take Derrick Henry and just run over guys. But like, I like the guys that are fast and get outside and can break 60-yard plays pretty reliably. Not that Saquon didn't do it last year too. But I like these guys, like in terms of every way I view football. So happy to have this start, even though it is not my usual, though it's candidly more my usual this year than it's been on previous years. Josh Downs up to 73 here. Yesterday, I took him at about 80 and felt really like that was a bit hefty for him. Josh Downs in a half-point PPR. If he goes top 70, I don't love that. I don't love that price. Sam Laporta here, Quinshon Judkins here, DeAndre Swift, another click I like a lot as well. But let's go with the semi-elite tight end. We'll set us up for Detroit theoretically. Maybe we'll skim some Minnesota stuff later on in the draft. We will go with Sam Laporta here. So the start right now, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving again. I'll keep defending myself with taking these 2 early RBs. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, Tet McMillan, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers. Tight end, Sam Laporta here. A little bit of a discount on him. Liking the team. I don't think it's super unique, though I did get enough value on Wilson and Tet that you're probably not getting these guys in that combo in this draft spot all the time. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing crazy so far. I think it's a nice balanced team, which... look, is not the sexiest marketing copy for Splash Play. Balance is going to be your way to win from a lot of draft spots this year. Still have some. You could do 0 RB, like we talk about always on stream here. But really in particular, as somebody that's gotten preponderance of back of draft picks, really do think that going balance builds, especially if you're picking the 11, 12 hole, even the 10, I think you're going more balanced. You have to go balance. You're going to get fucked and build shitty teams. Middle of the draft, you can kind of go either way, but I do like the bimodal RB builds in spots 3 through 6. I think it works pretty well. So I can say that every draft, and and I hope it works out well, because really sometimes you can put yourself in those pockets, then a completely different pocket ends up hitting. Like let's say we get the legendary Justin Jefferson year that he puts up 500 fantasy points or something. That would be something that would certainly upset the way I've been doing a lot of my drafts. Not that I'm fading Justin Jefferson or anything, but that's how it looks. Michael Pittman up to 83. Again, I talked about this on yesterday, and I hate to repeat the same points, but it is important to note these things when you see them happen over and over again. Josh Downs and Pittman here, both having the top 85 ADPs. What is so great about the Indianapolis offense, and what really, too, when you add Daniel Jones, I get it. It's going to be better production than Anthony Richardson. I agree with that. I think that Daniel Jones, to me, is a league average QB, kind of like Justin Fields in the pass game. I think those guys are enough, and that's better than AR was last year, because AR was really bad. Couldn't get the ball where it had to go. His catchable ball rate was incredibly low relative to what a starting QB should be. That said, he's not, Daniel Jones is not Joe Burrow. He's not this guy. He's not Jaden Daniels even. He's not one of these guys that's going to come in, distribute the ball so well to a bunch of dudes. why are these guys coming up, especially when they're adding in a guy like Tyler Warren, who is getting all the camp hype, all the buzz about him being fed a ton of targets? How does that help out Josh Downs, an intermediate range target? How does it help out Michael Pittman, an intermediate range target who fell off a cliff last year because the offense kind of stalled a little bit and Josh Downs is good enough. Alec Pierce is good enough. A.D. Mitchell has to get some work. Jonathan Taylor's there taking a ton of work away from a team that does want to run first. The defense can sustain that. I think these are awful price tags, like for Downs and Pittman. I think Downs, I get the hype, like he earned targets at a really high rate. I don't think that's enough. Jim Irsay dying has to be the start of there. It's a dark joke. His daughters are still there. The bloodline's still in charge. So if anybody watched Final Destination Bloodlines, you'll know that that's everything. We got Jordan Mason here, TJ Hawkinson here. I think Hawkinson's kind of interesting click, but I will go Jordan Mason, round out the RB room a little bit here. What's going on? Why am I? Oh, okay. That doesn't matter. But yeah, I think for how this room looks right now, third RB at this point, maybe a little bit early. Probably want to get the fifth receiver because there's definitely a tier break when you go from Cooper Kupp to Keon Coleman, then down to Trey Harris, Shaheed. But I can live with that, I think, with my top four. Let's see what we got on the way back. Sure, I have Pody Jen Stoner here. Baseball and bong grip season continues from Garden City, Colorado. There you go. Colorado's got their priorities in order. I will say for my MLB The Show player, my Roads to the Show guy, I am desperately trying to get to Colorado because I want to set all the hitting records. And I got myself Cincinnati finally. I've got myself traded every year in my Roads to the Show. But I'm in Cincinnati now, taking advantage of the Great American Small Park. And when I'm a free agent, because you're even in a video game, you're under team control for half a decade of your fake career. I'm going to go to Colorado. I'm going to hit some home runs. So I'll be right there with my fictional version of me. I'll be right there with you. Let's see what we got this week. Wow, Rashid Shaheed getting grabbed real early here, which is fine. That is absolutely a tier break at receiver. Justin Fields here, easy click for QB1. Anytime you get Garrett Wilson, I just take Justin Fields. I see no outcome where Garrett Wilson hits and Justin Fields is not a part of that. I personally am not a believer in Tyrod Taylor coming in. Like, you don't bring Fields in, give him decent money, and I don't expect him to fail like that. I love Fields at a 100 ADP. He's really, to me, and this is a hot take. The Jaden bet last year was obviously a bet on Jaden Daniels, but it was also a bet that at this price point, he's like the perfect click, was really how I felt about him last year. That's why I made that click a lot. Justin Fields, I'm definitely not quite as high on exposure-wise because I do want to get Garrett Wilson with him if I can. But I've got 15% Justin Fields in BBM right now. If he's available at pick 100, and especially if you have Garrett Wilson, he's the best click on the board, I think. I don't think we really saw his true ceiling in Pittsburgh. If I had to guess this year, you see 30-point games from him a couple times. I think this is the year where Fields goes nuts. This is not a stand I've said like full-throatedly, but my exposures absolutely back it out. I think Fields is like a really, really great click this year. And if you get Garrett Wilson especially, and I do think, well, can't predict this stuff. But I would say a Fields-Garrett Wilson combo being on the winning Best Ball Mania team, I would make that bet because like your odds would be really good. 10,000 to 1, something like that, just because of how Best Ball works. But I think it's a nice stack. And also they're going to play New England in week 17, and New England bringing a lot of Tennessee principles over, and Tennessee, what they do well, defend the front four, defend the run game really well. Awful in the back half. It's always in Mike Vrabel teams. So I think there's good outcomes potentially there as well. Jared Goff here, I just think we need to close out QB. I'm going to have to add a lot more volume at receiver. Still definitely need more at RB, but I think Goff is a nice click. If I can get him in the queue, we got him. All right. Different bye weeks as well. I think this is also probably a 2 QB build, though. Maybe we could add on Cam Ward or Geno. So the team so far, 2-3-4-1. Justin Fields, Jared Goff. I think that works because Fields will give us a rushing upside week to week. Goff, theoretically, enough of a ceiling. Even though people don't like that click sometimes because Goff doesn't run. We've seen him carry people through the playoffs. I think Goff's still a very viable click. At RB, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, our RB piggy start. Jordan Mason here for a week 17 bring back for Detroit. wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson, Tet McMillan, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers. So live for 3 late QBs here with Bryce Young, Cam Ward, and Geno. And we got Sam Laporta here as part of that Detroit stack. Team definitely getting the 5th receiver in the top 100, always a goal. But I like to see him get him out. Same start for me at 7. Well, I don't want to hear that. I didn't mind at pick 5, but fine. I assume you can't have the exact same start. I think that would be unlikely. Kyle Williams, really bad depth chart news for him so far. I really don't like that click. Marvin Mims I could live with. I think he is a little bit of a tier break for me at wide receiver 5. Another guy who did well with low ADOT stuff, along with some deep targets last year. And in particular, getting the kind of easy button targets I think are good for him. And frankly, a lot of people talk about RJ Harvey in this fucking Joker role that at one point has belonged to luminaries like Alvin Kamara, and also has belonged to luminaries like Greg Dulcich on that Denver offense for Sean Payton. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think Jaleel McLaughlin was technically your Joker last year. But Mims getting that kind of usage could be a possibility with how often they use him behind the line of scrimmage. Fact still is that in college at Oklahoma, his last year before he went to the pros, he was a great outside receiver too. So I think there's still potential for him to grow more there in year 3. I like Mims in this spot. I think Mims and Christian Kirk, to me, if you don't get one of these two guys, you're falling off the cliff. Kyle Williams, I've not liked the entire draft process. I feel like he was somebody, and obviously he got good enough draft capital, so if you want to take him, you can take him. But I feel like for fantasy, he really got on people's radar because the underdog guys, Josh and Hayden over there, who are very sharp guys, but they get biased like any of us do. They pushed the hell out of Kyle Williams in terms of fantasy. I think for real life stuff, he's got a ways to go. He's also got to overcome some guys that are legit targets where he works. Pop Douglas is ahead of him right now. Kyle Williams has worked mostly out the slot for the team so far, and I would think his long-term fit is going to be the slot. So he's kind of got the same situation as a Jalen Noel does for Houston, where you expect Christian Kirk to be ahead and all of that. I think Kyle Williams has been mispriced for a while. I think he should have, in my opinion, and I don't think enough people have seen the news about him being behind Pop Douglas by a good amount. He should have like a Jack Besh like fall because he's got the same situation as Jack Besh, just more athletic profile. But I think Kyle Williams is an awful click. I've felt that for a while. Right now, in particular, I think he's a really awful click. You're also falling off the cliff if you go hiking and feel the need to take an Instagram selfie. That's was Jack Handy in the chat, but thank you for that. Also, all you guys now have at names on the chat. I think StreamYard changed that, so I now don't know what the actual name you give is. This year's old, I had Gas Station Sushi. Oh my God. Bodie Jen Stoner. Gas Station Sushi seems like a risk, but my favorite pizza, one of my favorite pizzas, it's not my favorite pizza in the world, but Casey's, my friend Trent at Barstool back in the day had recommended them as having really good pizza, and that was Gas Station Pizza, and that shit crushed. 2351 here. I think Garendo is the click at RB. Want to get more RB value in. Jaden Blue is a guy, another one who rookie use overpriced by a pretty good amount. I think he falls and continues to fall. He's already gone from the 120s down to 145. But to me, Garendo, actual role, contingent value. And I think he'll have a role kind of like a Charbonnet does behind Kenneth Walker, where you're getting some amount of work. And if the starting RB is banged up, more work coming that way. Certainly part of my, let's say, dislike of McCaffrey, but my distrust of McCaffrey's ADP rising as much as it is that I think Garendo's going to be involved, and Garendo showed he should be involved last year. So believe that. You are officially at Emo Cowboy on YouTube here, so congratulations. But yeah, I don't know. I think it changed today because I don't recall this being on when I streamed yesterday afternoon, so I presume it changed this morning. Must have pushed something overnight. Smoke all day, but won't eat gas station sushi. I've eaten worse. Like I've DoorDashed 7-Eleven, which I feel like is like the nadir of quality. I DoorDashed the hot dogs from Dairy Queen in a blizzard last night because Alex is going out with one of her friends, and I was like, I just don't want to eat normal food. So that's what I had for dinner. That's why I'm in such great spirits today and running really at peak capacity. Wow. QB panic here, by the way. These guys are reaching for these guys. All right, we got 4 RBs, 5 receivers, 1 tight end. It is a pretty nice little tight end pocket, but yeah, you know what? It's a nice little tight end pocket. I'll just end the thought at that. I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid here. think that's a nice value, 11 pick discount on Kincaid. Kincaid's certainly a guy due to be slightly better with the workload he gets. And really the other option is taking Mason Taylor late, and that's not a 2 tight end build, I don't think. So I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid now, soak up some value. We'll still be able to get some more RBs in, some wide receivers in, but I love this base. I think I can play with it a little bit. Pause. But, I feel good about this. Next draft coming up, by the way, will be on DraftKings, so stay tuned there. And the final draft, if you want to draft me on stream today, is Drafters. Let's check it out. $100 deposit match on Drafters. They're a supporting sponsor of the show. I appreciate them a bunch for that. Even though I wasn't able to catch up with them this week, I'm trying to do the best I can to make sure you guys get on Drafters. In particular, in July and August, make sure you are getting on Drafters because the money will carry you further. Put in 3 entries last year in playoff best ball, finished top 10 and won a few grand. A couple years ago, finished top 100, winning a few grand, only putting in 30 entries in their big tournament for the regular season of playoff best ball like we're doing right now. That's what you get on Drafters. The money carries you further. So check it out. Obviously, look, keep playing Underdog, have fun with it. Keep playing DraftKings, have fun with it. But getting your action varied is an important part if you are trying to get a shot at actual big best ball winnings. I think that's an important part. Let's see. DoorDash Carl's Jr. I miss Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. good. Actually, the thing I missed the most from the West Coast in terms of like fast food, trash food, Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is so fucking good. Those curly fries. Like, I've not had a good curly fry, I feel like, in fucking eons. I'm sure there's good curly fries in the suburban Philadelphia area, but that's it. Henry asking, am I drafting a lot of Derrick Henry? Not sure if it's because you both have Henry in your name. But I didn't mention that earlier. I'm drafting a ton of Derrick Henry. Yeah, I've got 22% Derrick Henry, which surprises me for sure because I'm certainly not Mr. Old RB. But with where he's going right now at that 1-2 turn, he's too cheap. He's too cheap. Especially if he falls in the second round, he's way too cheap. But if he's at that turn, he's like a perfect pick to take one receiver, do that. My one fear is that there's a lot of great receivers at that turn when you have Drake London there is a guy I'm not getting enough of right now, but I want to get more. Obviously, Amon-Ra, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Nico. A lot of great clicks there. All right, would like to get the 5th receiver in here. We are nearing, I think, the end of the line for really every position. Really wish I liked Jaden Blue at all, but I don't. Just not buying Dallas is going to immediately get involved. An undersized guy who's got the best athletic profile, but is not the kind who's going to hold up against 3 downs of work in year 1, especially. Eckler, to me, is way undervalued because he's involved in that offense. Got great work last year, was the best version of himself since he was hitting fantasy ceilings regularly a couple years ago for the Chargers. For me with Eckler, I think he's a really nice backup click here, running back click. He's not really a backup. But he's got contingent value too if you did get Brian Robinson out. Roshan Johnson too at 162. I think he's a nice one. This range, if you're getting RB6 in this range, RB5, depending on the build, good spot to grab an RB, I think. You're missing out on some okay receivers, but if you have better receivers here and you're closing out your RB room with these guys, you should feel pretty good about it. Sure, guys. Sammy here, the Let's Fucking Go. I feel like you haven't said Let's Fucking Go in a while, Sammy, but love to hear that. Got to go make the donuts. Oh, no. Well, sorry for all you guys who are working right now. Hopefully it'll be a painless Friday work day for all of you. Pop Douglas here. Easy click. Building out the receiver room. Jets correlation for week 17. Done. Sometimes, guys, drafting is just this easy. We build beautiful teams. We RB piggied it out, but I think we still got enough here for this team to sing. We got Justin Fields and Jared Goff at QB. At RB, Gibbs, Montgomery, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero. Niners backfield of last year reuniting on my team. Austin Eckler rounds out the room for now. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, Tet McMillan, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Marvin Mims, Pop Douglas. Definitely needed one more receiver in here. I think that's where the 2 QBs in that pocket of QB frenzy can sometimes feel a little bit weird. And certainly the RB capital, I think maybe one less RB. I don't know. I think the room works. Maybe I just don't add a 6th RB on. I'm liking the team, though. Now, Laporta and Kincaid is my tight ends. Maybe Kincaid is the issue. If I don't take Kincaid, instead add on 2 tight ends late, that could be it. Who would I have taken over Kincaid? Because Kincaid was a decent value, but I definitely didn't need to take him there. Okay, I took Kincaid over Jalen McMillan, Quentin Johnston, Adam Thielen, Romeo Doubs, Josh Palmer, Pat Bryant, Jalen Noel. Does one of those guys make this team appreciably better? Maybe Romeo Doubs. Doubs a starter. Josh Palmer, maybe too. Do I like Josh Palmer more than you probably should? Wow, AR at 181. Are we just that desperate at QB, or is that the thing the market's doing? Just a weird time to draft right now. It's like you don't have in July, and if you guys are new to the kind of the process of best ball here, once it gets to training camp, you're going to have like the shark frenzy of this player got one sentence said that was good about them from a coach or an article from a beat reporter where they're just speculating. Deneric Prince from the Chiefs a couple years ago. You're going to see those guys be the one that people run to get a lot in the summer. For right now, I don't know. Like, I think people will just get bored again and click weird shit. Gesicki here can close out the tight end room fairly well. I'm going to do that. I have no issue with Mason Taylor. I just have taken a lot of Mason Taylor with my Fields stacks, and I'd like to actually give Fields a pretty good RB room on this team. So that's my logic for it, but certainly could have gone some other ways as well. I won't even pull up that chant, Philly Phantom, but that's a good move. I don't think they look at stuff terribly closely. And use that promo code SPLASH whenever you make an account. The fuck are you talking about? No, look, what am I wearing? What are you? I wear it every day. How high are you? Is it the gas station sushi making you go blind? Seems like a possibility. If they're at the top of the queue, I might time out DQ Glizzies, but I can't make that. They're really good. I will say, if you are near a Dairy Queen chili dogs are very good. If you want to eat like Sonic the Hedgehog, which is what happens after I do a joint stream, that's what you get. All right, receiver's ugly. I don't think I'm going to make this receiver room much better at this point. I'm going to do something weird and just take 4 tight ends. Because like Sam Laporta last year, and it's a new offensive coordinator there with Johnny Morton calling the plays now, obviously instead of Ben Johnson, who's now going to be hopefully saving the Bears. I think things can get weird for Sam Laporta, where I bet he still has the good ceiling. But last year, it felt like there were games where he was just fucking not involved at all. And then games where he's getting, the long touchdowns, getting end zone targets, all that. I want to make sure to be able to get Sam Laporta in. Theoretically, Kincaid and Gesicki should have done that already. But I'll increase the jet stack a little bit. I just don't think receiver at this point was going to make me that much better. And I like my top group enough, even though we didn't get those alpha receivers in the first 2 rounds, because we did go Bucky Irving and Jahmyr Gibbs. But like the RB room is going to score points with those 2. Hopefully spike a good amount as well with 2 guys who are still ascending, theoretically haven't hit their apex of production, have Gibbs and Bucky Irving. A receiver, love Garrett Wilson. Ted McMillan, I think, is your one projection risk here in the same way a Quinshon Judkins, a Caleb Johnson, and RJ Harvey is, where they're rookies. We don't know what we really get from that. But he's gotten good camp steam so far, so I'm willing to go with that. We'll add probably 1 more receiver here, but I really just didn't feel like I had to take the receiver in that spot. Like, if I miss out on Yoshevitz or Coker, fucking cares. Those guys are nothing to me. Not to be rude to them. EQ tacos are low-key amazing. Won't touch a burger from there. The one near me only does hot dogs. They do hot dogs and pretzels with queso dip, which are actually pretty good too, but I don't get those every time. If you're getting a fucking Blizzard, most of the calorie count's going to the Blizzard. Too high to notice the money hat. My 8-year-old notices. I'm glad your 8-year-old is noticing. That's good. It's really, we're trying to get out there more for kids. That's the joke, please. Don't clip that and put that on social media. 1 more receiver here. Isaac Tesla would be the free stack with Goff. Josh Reynolds would be the free one with Fields. I will go Dontavian Wicks, though. Again, there aren't many guys with a 30% target route run at this point available in a draft. Normally, this would be a spot where I would take Keenan Allen and just go, great, he'll land on a team. He'll go up 100 spots in ADP. But Keenan Allen went in the 180s here. So I don't know, again, if that's like a moving tide here. Keenan Allen's got a 194 ADP still. But Keenan Allen's available a lot in the 18th round. He's the guy you should take if you have a room like this, a receiver, and you're like, I need to get talent in, somebody that can theoretically actually make our lineup. But Wicks, I think, is a good fallback as well. So the final team here before we head over to DraftKings, Justin Fields and Jared Goff at QB. At RB, we have Jahmyr Gibbs and Bucky Irving, which, again, is RB piggery. I fully admit that. But those 2 guys, to me, I think are very strong clicks and really have been 2 of my favorite rookies, certainly in hindsight, in the last few years, and Bucky Irving in real time. Besides those guys, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, Austin Eckler is the RB room. At wide receiver, we got Garrett Wilson, who I have talked up a lot this year, especially for a player I didn't like very much last year. Ted McMillan, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Marvin Mims, Pop Douglas, Dontavian Wicks, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, Mike Gesicki, Mason Taylor is the tight end room. I feel good about this team overall. I think this worked out well. The balanced builds, I think, are the way that I'd like to go overall this year. So that's what we went for here. But that is draft 69 for me, and I would argue a very nice one. But time for you guys, if you want to play along with me, I did tip off the Discord first, but we got 4 spots left on DraftKings. Let's see the weirdos we get out of the woodwork here. But 35-minute draft, 20-second clock on Underdog. I got to say, as many critiques as I may have for Underdog this year, 20-second clocks are the greatest invention that's ever occurred in the history of the world. I think that's what I'll go to. Every site, please, DraftKings. I get to do streams for DraftKings through Stochastic every week. Please make a 20-second clock, DraftKings. I don't think I could do it now, but God, it's heaven. Just to not have to waste over an hour in a draft. Oh boy. Chungle let us back. What are you, a pussy? California bans fantasy. We're going to get overlay and BBM. Oh, that's actually an interesting thought. I mean, I do know from my conversations with them, which I now have no issue saying publicly, they really wanted to get people in California and Texas because those are both illegal sports betting states, and they could sell people on pick'ems more. So they've certainly been putting a lot of resources towards California. So it would be something if they did get knocked out of that state. But I talked about it yesterday. I don't blame them for that. I think that's entirely the fault of like the tribes in California because they recognize that that's a loophole. And those tribes in California. That's why there's been no movement on a sports betting bill at all there, is because none of the sports books have kissed the ring and given them adequate money for them giving up their legal rights. But basically, they don't want to give up those legal rights, and they are aggressive about protecting them. So, like, unfortunately, the pick'em sites are going to do that. The shitty part, though, is like for Underdog and Prize Picks, whatever ones would dabble. I don't know the fucks doing business out there. They're all going to get fucked because the sweepstakes casinos are not part of this. So then they'll just take the market share, and it'll be another gray legality thing. Let alone your Kalshi prediction market stuff. Now Robinhood, like they all have one. Robinhood's got one. You're just plugging up one thing that's now the most legal version of it for less legal versions. That's the biz. That's the biz. We got our guy Philly Phantom here. Philly Phantom, a ship it guy, huh? Okay. Wow. I feel like I don't get a lot of ship it people. Should I lock the door and turn people away or draft face to face when they walk in? Draft face to face. If it would cost you your job, I don't know, probably lock the door. Probably don't do it in the first place. my thought. The draft starting in 30 seconds. And guys, if you get value of this video, where again, I'm the only person in the industry right now drafting on all the platforms back to back to back every week. Show some love if you can. Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Goes a long way for me here. Just one provider showing you my gambling on stream, doing the best I can. Use my knowledge accumulated from years at Stochastic, years at fantasy football, years playing fantasy football for sure and gambling on it, but also with Football Outsiders, running things behind the scenes. I worked with the Chiefs during a Super Bowl year. I've done things people in the space that are streaming I've not even gotten close to. It's not even a disrespect thing. It's just like I believe in myself a lot and what I know as a creator, and I show that to you here as best I can on stream. Whether it leads to me making money and you making money, that's up to the gods of gambling. That's up to the tribes in California, you know? They're the ones who control it all. They're like the Illuminati. No, I really do appreciate all you guys hanging out with me here. It's just like, it's one of those things where just feel, I don't even if I feel in a rut right now. I feel like I'm doing really good work, and it's just like I'm on the treadmill lately for content. But it is what it is. Good people that ship it? I don't know. I mean, look, I have been a Stochastic guy since I started in the industry in 2018. And yeah, I mean, that's just it. I would be down to do stuff with other sites, but I don't think I'm allowed to. Not even contractually. It's just like Stochastic would fucking blackball me if I did any Run Pure or Ship It stuff or Roto Grinders even. I don't know. Not that any of them will offer me anything, but probably for the same reasons. FTN once poached Stochastic really hard, and that got people real angry. I got people on the warpath. Led to some troubles. Bijan Robinson goes. He's on the thumbnail. Let's do it again. Jahmyr Gibbs, come on down. Let's see. You know what? Honestly, though, like, you can't control this as a content creator. I do think one of the more valuable things that you could have if you're going to make content about stuff is like, how do you handle a draft with this player across every platform? I think we're going to see that today. We saw how I handled Gibbs on Underdog. We might see how I handle Gibbs and Bucky again here on DraftKings. So we'll get a look here. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. On the warpath, like that X-Men character. That is true. They were on the warpath. But yeah, I get it. You know, people are going to poach your guys or make crazy offers. And then most of those guys who did leave for FTN ended up like leaving after a year anyway because FTN did not pay them the money. FTN, one of those companies, I've talked about it before, but I will never like FTN. They also, like Aaron Schatz, fucked all of our staff over at Football Outsiders because he took a payday from FTN to keep himself afloat, which you get it, but one of the worst. One of the worst. But Shipit's done none of that to me, so shout out Shipit Nation. Appreciate you, Kendrick, as well. Fire stream as always, Spags. Good start to the weekend. Everyone give our man a like and subscribe to support. Thank you, Kendrick. Kendrick, the one man who thinks I'll win BBM every year for a couple of years running, and we'll see how we do. Use stochastic tools as well. That's one thing I think at DFS that I'm sure there are some players out there that have done pretty well with, of just using stochastic projections on a Saber sim, using whatever blend. I know people use blends, but a blend of roto grinders, Saber sim, stochastic, Fantasy Cruncher knows still alive, ETR, obviously. Blend of that, run it on the best sim product that you can, whether it's stochastic or Saber sim. That probably would work well too. All the products have different utilities. No, obviously, I will defend Stochastic's content haul for a while because I was a big part of creating that. And I love the guys who were there. All the full-timers at Stochastic think they do great work. And many of the contractors too. I don't know all of them. We got Bucky Irving on the board. Let's see what this guy does. Might have AJ Brown on the board as well. Might not. All right, so Taylor, Rashee Rice, Bucky Irving. Oh, I need to take more Rashee Rice. I firmly believe that. I would like to see what this looks like here. Same game, but different year. We're going RB heavy. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving. I'm just going to do the exact same thing on both sites. I'll change the video title. Drafting Jahmyr Gibbs and Bucky Irving for $4.5 billion. Can I do it on drafters too? That's what we're now tuning in to see, because I will happily do this for the third draft as well. But Jahmyr Gibbs and Bucky Irving start here. Double RB. How do we handle it on DraftKings where it is easier to make it up at receiver because it's full point PPR? I like these clicks, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Brett Sturz at pick 11. Co-ed surfer, huh? Okay. What is that name, Brett? Tell me about it. What has happened to our golden streamer? Yeah, no, I'm pissing green. I've got gonorrhea coming out right now with Gibbs and Bucky Irving here. Trey McBride going to a respectable 24 here. Love to see that. Always like supporting independent creators when possible. I think you're making that sound more like OnlyFans than me on YouTube, but I appreciate it. If you guys that do want to support independent creators, make sure you join the channel as well. In particular, you guys who are having a good time in the chat, join the Discord. Really, the main thing is here, if you get a membership to the channel, no matter what tier, even the $5 tier, you get into my Splash Play Discord as well by clicking the link in the description. So join there. It's really been one of the places I enjoy coming into on the internet. And frankly, those have gotten less and less over the years because I just don't enjoy social media the same way. But Discord, you just pop in, have, I would say, meaningful conversations, but also just talk about the news of the day. And I do put all my football takes in there as well. So check that out. All right, guys, I don't want to be a basic bitch, but I'm just going to do this the same way for now. Because I like all these players. I like the team I built last time out. I'm going to see what deviates along the way, but a Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson start once again on DraftKings because these are three of my favorite players in a draft right now. Bijan over Gibbs, would have no problem with that. Puka Nacua with Bucky would be a different team, but I'd be cool with that as well. I don't think I have that combo a lot because I don't reach for Bucky too often. If it swells, ride it. Oh, I guess that's how you get the name Co-ed Surfer. Okay, thank you for explaining. The thing is, when I ask the question, I have to be willing to accept the answer, and I accept that answer. But we got some normal picks here. Nothing too crazy. Josh Jacobs at 31. I would like that price from a lot more. This guy took Breece Hall at 28. There was a good week or two where Breece Hall was reliably going 40, 41, 42. Now he's back up. I have no idea what changed besides people wanting to take more Breece Hall or maybe different drafters coming in late June, soon early July. Breece Hall should be priced in the 40s. Like if James Cook's going to be in the 40s, Breece Hall should be in the 40s right next to James Cook. Like that's feel strongly about that. I really don't think, and I'm not a Josh Jacobs guy. I am team Marshawn Lloyd until one of us dies. I don't think Breece Hall should go ahead of Josh Jacobs in any situation. Like I strongly believe that. Oh. Alex had to text me because the dog is sleeping in Luca's bed. So thank you for that. Thank you for the important updates you get here in my house. Yeah, okay, look. So Kyren Williams picked 37. Breece Hall picked 28. I can't tell you guys how strongly I feel that you should take Kyren Williams over Breece Hall. The game to game, maybe similar upside. I agree with that. I don't know, man. Kyren gets guaranteed goal line work, has for years. They're trying to extend him. Breece Hall was literally the subject of trade rumors, even though he gave the quote about, like Aaron Glenn called me, like whatever. They were going to trade him, and then they didn't. Kyren they want to give money to, and yet Kyren in this draft goes 9 spots later. I don't think that makes sense. And Kyren's got such a better red zone role as well. Crazy to me. I don't know what to do, guys. Everything's lining up the exact same way here. Though, actually, you know what? We got Laporta last time. I took McMillan. I'll go JMO here. So this is going to be a different one. We'll get a Detroit stack a different way here with Gibbs. I'll try not to take Laporta instead. But we got a Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams start, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving. I guess still possible I get Ted McMillan out of this with a Q tag on him on DraftKings. That does mean that guys will slide sometimes. But nope, never mind. This guy took him at 45. Never mind. This guy's got no scruples about reaching for anybody here. Chase Brown, 21. Breece Hall, 28. There you go. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Thank you for that. Like Isaiah Davis for the Jets. I don't take him very often, but I do think there's a world where he can put up some points for sure. I mean, he's got a skill set. The issue for him is he's got a skill set that does dovetail with Breece Hall, where Isaiah Davis they seem to want to use as a pass game back. And obviously Breece Hall's upside is that you get checkdowns to him. He'll do okay with those. And this guy taking Allen and Hurts. Really, this room is showing once again, 2 to 3 teams and every DraftKings board will just be dead. Your pod will feature 2 to 3 dead teams every time out. They'll have players just like all of us, but they will not be drafting well enough to actually survive. That's your most drafted player. That's fun. I think he's had a good price tag. DraftKings drafters so stupid. They're not as stupid as they were in previous years, but again, still 2 to 3 dead teams in every room. Just mismanaging a draft capital, it happens a good amount. And it's like, again, this team, if you do things really well around it, it could still advance. It probably would have a hard time in the finals, I would think. But it could work, I guess, if it really do it well. It's just hard to stick the landing on teams like this. Like, even if you want to make the case for 2 elite QBs, whatever, you should never really do it because onesie position, all the stuff we know about best ball. But if you do it, you just got to be really clever about how you do it. And even then, the upside's probably not worth it. We got 2 receivers here, 2 RBs, obviously, with the start we did. Zay Flowers, a great click to me as well. So we're getting different texture on top of this. I'm cool with how this is going. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers here. 3 receivers I like a lot. 2 RBs that you throw in Bijan with that. Throw in Derrick Henry with that. My favorite RBs, I think, at least exposure-wise. Barkley, Hurts, Allen, Rice. Well, you got week 17 correlation for the Barkley-Allen part. That's the thing is, like, what he's doing here isn't insane. But again, he also got 2 QBs in the same week 17 games. So that's also like a bad minus EV move. If you have 2 QBs on your team, you want them to theoretically be different week 17 game stacks. Same thing if you have 3, like you want them to represent the shot to capture an outlier game environment. For Allen and Hurts, you're getting the exact same game, and that doesn't work. And I thought it might work in previous years, but I frankly had to stand corrected about that. The data just doesn't support going 2 QBs from the same week 17 game. So not only you're doing that, but you're doing that with the most expensive draft capital you can. It's just not smart stuff. And people think best ball is jazz, and like it is jazz to some extent. I've said it on stream enough times. In reality, like we can talk about best practices, structure, and all that. And if you do that across your portfolio, you'll have a better shot of winning money and having lineups that bubble up in advance. But anything can win come the end of it all. Like it can all come together in a way that works out if you just survive all the pod stuff you need, the luck along the way, and then things come together and you have the right spike week guys who put up 40 points when nobody else had them or very few people did. That's all you really need. But you still want to do things in a way that give you a shot at, being plus EV about the approach. The 2 QBs from the same week 17 game, though, definitely not something to do unless you're getting one of them at a huge ADP value. And this guy instead took them both at ADP, reached for Hurts. Not the move. And that's one of those that didn't affect me because I wasn't taking either guy. So I'm speaking completely unbiased here that that's just not a good pick. That's what every stream is inside the mind of Spags. It's usually whatever comes into my mind comes out of my mouth because that's how we fill the air here. We got 3 receivers, 2 RBs with Gibbs and Bucky. I really was thinking Chris Godwin there. Unfortunately, he is gone. Where are we on the board? I am going to go DeAndre Swift here. I'm going to take the 3rd RB. I think this RB room to me is really potent. Obviously, want to get the 4th receiver in, but I think there's a chance we could get decent things back at receiver. There's also a chance we might not because we have 8 spots before we pick again. But I would rather roll the dice and take Swift here and just get what I get at receiver on the way back. Because frankly, the guys picking here around the turn, I don't know how sharp they are. I appreciate that. That's why I'm here, homie. Good vibes. I don't know if it's always good vibes in my mind, but usually on stream we're okay. Almost took Godwin when he fell a bit. Yeah, I was going to happily take Godwin at 68, but once he's gone, we'll add on DeAndre Swift. Rolling up and fucked up. Oh no, where are you? Which one are you, M the Great? Because you have the same username, right? I don't know which one you are, M the Great. But it'll happen. It'll happen, You got to pay attention. RJ Harvey. Okay, good. I will say in particular, there's one player I want to get on the way back. Oh, you're the one who took Hurts. Okay, well, I'm sorry to have dwelled on it that long. You're doing something interesting with it. But yeah, the 2 QBs in week 17, I just wouldn't do. But good to know. Sorry to have piled on to you that much. But I do want to spell it out for people on YouTube. That's not usually the approach. But you'll see how you dig out of it. That's the move. So our guy M the Great here who's in the chat as the one who did this. So that's why I'm trying to be not as mean to people that make the draft moves. But you got to get really creative to dig your way out of that now. So we'll see what he does. It's always a good thought experiment. And if you are a sharp drafter, it's kind of like writing where people, like TV writers, movie writers, they encourage you to like write yourself into a corner. If you're a good drafter and you take like a weird elite QB combo, and you know how to kind of manage your draft capital buckets after that, you might build a really unique team that nobody wants to build, but you also might fuck it up. So that's a trade-off. You have tough skin and high. There. I appreciate both things. I'm the Great. Thank you for that. Jordan Addison here was the pick I wanted. I think he's a strong click here. Willing to absorb whatever suspension stuff may come, most likely 1 to 3 games. We now have Detroit correlation, Minnesota bring back. Obviously, would like to get Goff, but now we can theoretically get JJ McCarthy if we want to compete for him. We'll see what else we do at QB. We got a lot of time coming up here. But I'd like to start so far. Let me read the whole team, even though it's going to look very similar to the last one. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, and Jordan Addison are the picks so far. So we got ourselves 4 receivers, 3 RBs, good balance so far. Need to stick QB, need to make sure we get enough tight end capital in. But all right. When I draft shit, I want mean Spags. I'm trying really hard because people get really worked up about it. I gotta adjust my approach. I thought being mean was half the bit, half the joy of why I got views. And now I'm getting less views and I'm not being mean. So maybe it is it. But it's just not worth people getting like literally trying to threaten me three times in a year. And I've said this before on stream, but if you are new to the channel, it's part of why it's all a work in progress for me. I just get people, I bring out the worst of people. Maybe they bring out the worst of me too. But I've had 3 people threaten to come to my house and attack me within the last year. 3 different people. So I just don't want that, you know? I don't, and like I don't mean they're actually going to do it. Like, frankly, this week when I don't know if you guys saw this, but Joe Rogan, I guess, filed a terroristic threats thing against the Liver King. He's putting out videos of social media, and I'm like, wait a minute, we could do that? Like, I just don't think you should threaten people physically online. Like, personally, I think I think it's a stupid move because, like, usually isn't going to happen. But B, like, currently in 2025, it's actually happened enough times recently that I think it's uncomfortable, especially if you have publicly available information, you're a public figure, somebody's been on, like me, somebody's been online for a while and has like I have a record you could find online, not like a criminal record, but like you can find me if you really wanted to. Just super weird. So, trying to not be mean as much this year. I want people to get the point of things. But look, we'll see. We'll see what changes heading into 2026. Maybe I'll be meaner in 2026. But I'll probably be so happy because I'll have all these big $4.5 million wins racked up that I'll just be too full of joy to be mad at anybody. We got a couple picks 4 hours. People are crazy. If you stream, you should have home protection. I mean, I have like a home security system, but I don't know what people like. And again, there are people too who hopped in my Discord and were like weird about my kids. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just not, sometimes it doesn't feel worth it. Not to be dramatic about it, because I still enjoy, I enjoy the small groups. It's like what I like the most. I like having 50 people on a Discord because I can actually talk to them and like not feel drowned out by people just fucking yelling their own shit into the abyss. Or even on like Pete's channel. Like, I don't think this represents Pete at all. People dropping like F-bombs left and right and shit. Who fucking wants that? We got, and not F-bombs like fuck, like the slur F-bomb. 3 and vaguely racist jokes too. And one of the, like, oof. I'm going to go Mooney here. I feel like I'm building a team I like a lot. The one issue is I might have had to reach for QB if I want to make this team exactly the same as we had an Underdog in terms of getting the QBs. So that's a tough part here. I might lose out on one of my QBs. But we have 3 RBs, 5 wide receivers. The RB room is Gibbs and Bucky with DeAndre Swift. The wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney. So lots of spike week potential. And Mooney, for what it's worth, one of my highest exposed guys on every platform right now. He is currently one of my favorite clicks. Even though, to be totally honest, he did get his ass kicked by Drake London in target earning when Penix took over. I don't know. Like, there's a lot I like about Mooney, but maybe I should be more reserved about him than I am. Talking shit to the room, walking down your next pick was a great bit used to do. I know, and it's the one I stopped. I had to stop doing some stuff that just I don't think is it. I don't know. It's tough because like I'm in my own head about streaming more than ever this year, which is not the way to make content usually, but there's people made it weird for me. That's what it came down to. And somehow I'm the one that's like the bad guy in it. And it's like I can't, yeah. But we got a pick coming up here. And the shitty part is our 2 QBs are right at the top of the board here, so we're not going to get one of them. If it came down to it, I know which QB I'd like to take, but I would be happy with Fields or Goff here. So Goff, we have the Minnesota correlation. The game stack is more ready-made. In terms of a guy I expect to score more week to week, I mean, I don't have to worry about Fields' job security. Maybe I should. Jared Goff certainly got more job security. But I think Fields, the rushing upside, again, I really strongly believe that Fields gets used the best he ever has in his career this year. So we're going to go Justin Fields here, our first QB off the board. 1-3-5 build. I'm trying to scroll here, but I won't go to the right window to scroll. We got Justin Fields, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney. So definitely need to make it up at tight end, though we can obviously do that later on in a draft. We're likely going to lose out on Jared Goff, which just has to be the way it is. Oh, thanks, Charlie. You're doing great, Spags. I know for the regulars, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But in terms of like reaching new audiences, I just like, I don't know. Something's got to change in my flywheel for that, but I don't know. I'm still gonna do my news videos in July, and I feel good about that, reaching some different people. Yeah, I don't know. Just like I don't know. It's easy to get in your own head with anything, I think, and I try to be honest about that stuff. But that's also probably why I get less views. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Also, why I'm not surfing co-eds anymore. Like your guy Brett in the chat. But yeah, it's like the great irony is like I think I'm building the best teams, and I think I have the best understanding of football I've ever had. But you know, we'll see how the results come out. Ugh. There's really nothing else football-wise. What do you guys got going for the 4th of July? Now, I've talked about it on here. Next week will be my vacation streams here, which have been a thing I've enjoyed in previous Splash Play years, doing a couple streams from wherever I'm going for the family vacation that year with Alex's family. This year, I'll be going to the Sarasota area of Florida, so we'll be doing some beachy streams here. Definitely Tuesday and Thursday, my usual Stochastic and Drafters combo. And then I think going to be doing one triple header next week, if not two, but definitely at least one. It's all Drafters open another $2 tourney. Did they filled it? They're definitely not going to open another one if they didn't fill that one. But I'll tell them whenever I catch up with them. It just hasn't happened yet. Well, really? It filled already? That's crazy. Good for them. I mean, they definitely would like people to enter the big tournament because the big tournament's only got about 25 key entries out of 140. But that's crazy. I didn't know that. Huh. Well, hopefully you guys got your entries in for Drafters $2 tournament. It's so funny. I mean, it's not funny, but like the smaller dollar tournaments this year are just getting gobbled up on every site. Like people are losing their interest in maybe the big tournaments. I don't know if that's accurate for you guys. It seems like people don't want to spend the bankroll on it as much. Maybe. We got 1350 build here. As expected, we lost out on Jared Goff, but nothing we can control there. Unless I had reached for QB pretty aggressively. We got... Where's the Jefferson drafter? Jefferson drafter's after me. He's already got 2 QBs, so he shouldn't want JJ McCarthy. So we're not going to take him right now. Though it is DraftKings, and they will do that. Fuck me. I'm just going to take JJ McCarthy. I would be curious to see if the guy here... So the Jefferson drafter has Lamar, has Bo Nix, has spent a ton of capital at QB already. I could have baited him into a mistake in taking McCarthy as well, because if he took McCarthy there, he'd probably be submarining his team. But that said, for taking McCarthy here, it's a little bit lofty. But I have a Detroit, Minnesota stack set up, so I kind of had to do it. A lot of us can't afford max big boy tournaments. So we like to pump out volume at an affordable price point. That makes sense. I mean, look, I'm to be clear, I'm not saying it judgmentally. I just feel like in previous iterations of gambling, people would just max out credit cards and I mean, again, it's not me glamorizing that, but just again, talking candidly like we always do here. I feel like people would find the money to pay for the big tournament more than they would just play within their means. I think it's good to see people playing within their means. But you know, I think it might be a generational difference too, because I think Gen Z is also supposed to be smarter about the stuff, even though there's a lot of them getting killed in gambling as well. I think they're supposed to be generally, like as a baseline, better at bankroll management based on some of the stuff I've read. So that could be a part of it too. But it's also like older people. I feel like a lot of the ones that bitch on Twitter are like the 55-year-olds who are fucking still doing this stuff. I don't know. It seems like the approach for best ball for most of these sites, from what I see on social media, should be you should always have like your equivalent of like the play action on DraftKings, where it's like a $3 20 max kind of thing. And that somehow has a 100K prize pool to it. I think if you just had that all the time, people would fill that. But you know, that makes sense. Like I'm happy to pass the feedback along. I do talk to drafters whenever they want to talk. So I'll let them know. It's definitely a different perspective for sure. Like for me with DFS, when I was first starting out, I mean, I certainly play pretty aggressively and always have, but I was like trying to put in as many entries as possible into like bigger tournaments. That was always the way I did things. It's not the plus EV way to do it. The most plus EV way to approach things for DFS, for best ball, for anything in gambling, be to max out a tournament you could afford. So again, it's just proper best ball, best bankroll management for best ball. in a way that I wouldn't expect, but I guess it's good to see. All right, we got Herbert, Jameson Williams, not Jameson, Javonte Williams. We already have Jameson Williams. We got Dobbins here. Again, really don't need to go out of my way to get tight end yet. I think there's a good spot to get a 4th RB. I'm going to go Dobbins. I think Dobbins is a nice click at this point. Really think the asymmetric bets on him and RJ Harvey are just not going to be correct this entire draft cycle, because RJ Harvey was steamed up so much and he got the nice coach speak. And it's like, cool, he probably wasn't everything they wanted because they're bringing in Dobbins immediately. But Dobbins is a good shot to be a 3-down back, to be a high leverage back. I think Dobbins is arguably, with how he played last year, he was healthy for most of the year, so that's a trade-off. And certainly he's always a risk to get hurt again. He's a much better click this year than he was last year, because we saw it. We saw it happen. But that's how I feel about Dobbins. Took him a lot pre-draft. Should have kept taking him throughout the early part of the cycle because he was so cheap, much like Keenan Allen is now. We'll get him today. So the team here is Justin Fields, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, JJ McCarthy, J.K. Dobbins here. So we've got 4 RBs, 5 wide receivers with pretty good draft capital behind them, even though we got the 2 early RBs. I hope that these drafts are making the case, by the way, for why I do feel strongly about, at the very least, 1 RB in this range. But realistically, like, you take 2, you could see these guys around me here. There aren't great RBs going in these couple spots. Connor would certainly be a good enough one. I'm not crazy about Judkins. Maybe people are. Swift I am crazy about, but I had to take him pretty early to get him here at 68. Just not a great roll down the entire draft board for RB after the first few rounds. Ship Chasers talked about it yesterday at length. ETN news. What did they talk about with ETN? Or ATN? Because no, I have not seen ATN news. I saw there's a good coach speak in camp, but nothing besides that. A couple picks before we go here. Now you got me thinking I should look up Roto World. Oops, I hit Control, refresh instead. Trade Whispers is the only thing I'm seeing on Google News. So please tell me your ATN news. All right, we got pick coming up here. Javonte Williams still kicking around. It's not a bad click. Receiver's starting to fall off the cliff at this point, though. What's this guy doing? All right, he took Javonte, which is totally fair. I think first tight end off the board seems like the move here. Isaiah Likely. Oh, Trevor Etienne news. Got it. You know, for Trevor Etienne, no thank you. I don't think it's actually good for him at all. I think much like Brooks would have found his way to being buried probably by Chuba last year, they then bring in Rico. And maybe Rico Dowdle is like, I guess you run the faint chance that he's a couple years ago Rashad Penny for Philadelphia, where he's getting drafted, though he's not getting drafted anywhere nearly as high as Penny was. He's getting drafted on an assumption of second RB volume / contingent value. He doesn't get there. But I personally, okay. Gretchen's making a case. I think Gretchen's as sharp as anybody out there, so I don't want to directly go against him necessarily. But I don't think you pay Rico Dowdle basically the exact same money that Chuba was getting paid for, to not use him. And then I also think too that ATN was not anything special last year. Like, he wasn't a high avoided tackle rate guy, 22%. Wasn't a high EPA player, 0.09 EPA there. 15 touches a game is fine, but it's not, or opportunities a game that includes targets. That's okay, but it's not anything outlier. He wasn't fantastic in the red zone, got a lot of touchdowns relative to the red zone work he got. But that doesn't mean anything. I don't see it. I also don't really think it's an ambiguous backfield because Chuba is their guy. And I think if anything, Rico Dowdle being the guy working in behind him. But hey, if Gretch says it, it's coming from somewhere bona fide. Oh, Coach Speaking Next just tweeted the quote that was put out. Okay, let's see. Not all coach speak created equal, I think, is one caveat I would say. Oh, here's an underdog quote about Travis Etienne. Too many Etiennes floating around. Travis Etienne expected to remain Jaguars' top RB. Etienne could take a bit of a backseat as a rusher as the team's running game and receiving ability evolve. All right, so that's nothing new. But that's what I would have expected anyway. Like he should start the year as a lead back. Let's see. Coach Weekend next. All right, let's make this click. Adam Thielen goes. We have a 2-4-5-1 build. Ray Davis, not a bad click here. Trey Benson, not a bad click here. I think it's Ray Davis. I'm not nuts about Ray Davis, but if he's going to be RB5 on a Bucky, Jahmyr Gibbs team, I think that's fine. I have to say, I like the underdog team better so far. I think the pockets aligned a little bit better for me. I think getting tight end done early was also a positive. The receiver room's probably better here, but I don't know. That was a quote I was referring to. Not really that much. Yeah, I mean, look, ATN, Travis Etienne, you should think is the lead back no matter what. I think is the way to view that. But certainly it's an ambiguous backfield. That's all it is. And yes, here's the Coach Speak next version of it. Top RB in backseat. What? Doesn't make sense. I guess the quote is an odd quote. But I think what it's basically saying is like, you expect to be the top back, but as the team evolves, touches are going to flow other ways, which is how basically every football team works anyway. And my bet the entire time for Jacksonville has been basically this. There's going to be a lead back, much like there was last year with how Liam Cohen ran things for Tampa Bay. You just kind of saw that played out. But ATN's probably going to be your Rachaad White equivalent back. I think the difference, though, would be that Tank Bigsby, to me, should immediately get goal line work. Bashal Tutin has to get some touches out there because, like, he's got a lot of juice, but he also fumbles a good amount. He gets stuffed behind the line a good amount. Highest stuff run rate out of all the rookie RBs coming out here, and there's a lot of them came out in this class. I think there's going to be a lot of downside for him, so I just don't see him being in every touch back in year one. But my expectation is that it's just a split backfield the entire way. But ATN's your highest value one, I think. All right, Trey Benson here, Quentin Johnston here, Kyle Pitts here. We are trying to make up a little bit more at tight end. Need to get more in at wide receiver as well for sure. Benson's a pretty legit value at this point, but I just don't need the 6-star RB there. I've got enough value, I think. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts here. Then Kyle Pitts, we have a little bit of an Atlanta bet. Again, we didn't get Laporta. Mason Taylor, not a guy who can carry a tight end room, so we have to add volume here. We got Kyle Pitts and Darnell Mooney correlated with no QB. But I like the Atlanta pass game, so I'm cool with it. No Cap Max saying kind of take that quote as ATN will start the season as the lead guy, but coaches plan to phase him out as soon as other young guys develop. Well, I think the main thing is like it's not playing. So in a perfect world here, and you got to keep in mind that for Jacksonville and the coaching staff coming in, they have no ties to anybody besides the guys they brought in. So like Diami Brown, they signed him as the first guy they brought in. That matters. They drafted Tutin. They drafted, who's the other guy? LaQuint Allen. That's guys they brought in. Not with great draft capital, but they brought him in. They would love to see those guys succeed. Those guys still have to win the job. The guys still have to make it work in terms of getting, on the field, beating out ATN, beating out Bigsby. And because the offense should be so well schemed, you probably see ATN looking the best he has. You'll see them figure out how to use Bigsby for as much as they want to use him as best they have. And I think Bigsby was actually legit kind of good last year. Now, still not a guy you want to trust in the pass game. ATN wasn't very good last year, but this is his best shot to be good, I think, at this point. So that's the bet. But if ATN sucks, then they probably won't use him. If he's Rachaad White, then he's going to get Rachaad Whited. The issue is that he's 50 picks cheaper than Rachaad White was last year. So I still think he's a good click. We need some more receiver. This is really just a ton of RBs left. I'm going to go up and get Pop Douglas again. He's cheaper on DraftKings, but he's more valuable in PPR. I still like Alec Pierce. Think he's a good touchdown guy. DeAndre Hopkins, I've seen go in the last round of drafts on Underdog and DraftKings lately. I'm not, I don't know, not crazy about Hopkins at this price tag. But Pop Douglas gives us a Jets bring back for week 17, and I do think he's a good PPR play. So Pop Douglas it is. Let's give the team a read here. We got Justin Fields, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, I keep saying Javonte, Jameson Williams, I called Javonte Jameson. Again, I'm in my Bill Simmons era. Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, JJ McCarthy. So basically we have Minnesota, Detroit stacked and Jets, New England now stacked for week 17. J.K. Dobbins, Ray Davis, Kyle Pitts, Pop Douglas. I like this team. I think this team is good. Still think the Underdog one we did with a similar base was better. But that's okay. It's gonna be different in different rooms. That's sort of the point. And then usually I would not do the same thing I did here where it's like two exact start teams being the same. But it ended up being unique from other ways at the top. And like my first three picks the same on both sites, but across sites it probably doesn't matter very much. Guy, Robert Griffin the Turd, who now your at name is different. Love the fact you're smacking the CLV bros around by still taking Dobbins. A lot of folks stop clicking when there's a jump like that. I think it's immaterial until Dobbins passes 120. I mean, it's immaterial until he passes like RJ Harvey, is how I would feel about it. Because like RJ Harvey's price still, what he went 60 something here, 72 here. So I pretty much feel like for RJ Harvey, like he just shouldn't be this far ahead of Dobbins. So Dobbins gets a 100 or something, and I would still be willing to take him there because I think they represent different things. Like Harvey to me is wish casting a role that was never going to be fully in the cards with the way they talked about Estime previously, with the way they've loved McLaughlin for years. Like I think he's still in the mix. I just don't think it's going to be a backfield where anybody was going to get 20 touches. But now I think you really run the risk of Dobbins getting you 10 to 15 and Harvey getting you more like 5 to 10. Because like Dobbins is a complete back in a way that it's hard for Harvey to be in year one coming out of UCF. And again, not to me like good athlete, but didn't show it in terms of missing tackles against really shitty competition last year. We got Mason Taylor here again. Yeah, play the hits. Alec Pierce, still a nice click at pick 189, but we want to make sure we're getting our jet stack done here. And everything else will be luxury on top of a 20-round draft. So 2-5-6-3 build right now. Tight end, we starved pretty heavily with no elite, nobody even close to elite. So how to get more volume here. The last stage, guys, of our Try Drafthlon is coming up, so make sure to go to drafters.com right now. Use the promo code SPLASH, $100 deposit match. Link in the description as well if you want to go check it out there. But again, Drafters is a great site to play on because unlike Underdog, unlike DraftKings, there are no pods, no playoff pods. You're just playing for total points. So your true skills to Drafter comes out more. I've had some of my biggest wins, including top 10 in playoff best ball last year with only 3 entries. Top 100 a couple of years ago in their main tournament as well. The same one we're doing on stream. Finished there with only 30 entries in that one. So your money can carry you further on Drafters. So come play with me on there or play with yourself on Drafters. Play with yourself wherever you want, but do it on Drafters as well. I'm not going to police you. Not the Catholic Church. Take any other Jets tight ends, Ruckert? No. The new regime brought in Mason Taylor, paid good draft capital for him. I think he's nothing special. He was like a 20% target per out run guy at LSU. So like you're talking about a guy who really, less than Ben Sinnott commanded in terms of value, all that. It's not great, but he's the tight end for Justin Fields. So that's it. Ruckert, I think has something in him. I know people in Long Island, my family in Long Island, he went to like Hempstead or whatever high school. So like they were like rooting for him. But he's not really that guy. I think he's okay. I think he's should be a decent red zone target theoretically. But he hasn't flashed it. I was going to take Keenan Allen. Don't get him here, unfortunately. Not a fan of this spot. Should get more Dante Thornton just because the price tag right now is reasonable enough. He's going to be seemingly your starting outside receiver. I'll get a share. Dante Thornton. And really, that's why I take so much Keenan Allen is like, you're telling me that I have a shot at getting the J.K. Dobbins at receiver this year, a guy who was, again, production-wise, analytically, the best receiver in Chicago last year was Keenan Allen. You get him for free at this point of a draft, or you can take a guy like Dante Thornton, who really didn't show much in college, is getting picked right now because he started outside in OTAs, and like, Jack Best, who's got more draft capital, can't really play out wide. He's a pure slot guy. Jacoby Myers also not great at playing out wide. He's mostly slot dominant. I don't think Thornton's actually a good click. Like, I think Keenan Allen's objectively a good click. Alec Pierce at 193, also a good click. But like, if you're going to take Keenan Allen or Thornton or Tolbert, your only concern for Keenan Allen not being good is that he's not on a team right now, which is worrisome. I would love him to be on a team, but that's where the buying opportunity is. I would say also, while I've thrown out some hot takes in the stream, the Justin Fields one, I think that he at pick 100 or so, one of the best picks you'll have in a draft. And I think a good shot to be in the mix to win somebody a lot of money. I think for picking in round 17, 18, 19, Keenan Allen could be a league winner. You just don't get a guy who legitimately put up, I mean, let's go to the Fantasy Pros scoring thing. Put up, I think, 4 15-plus point games on the stretch. Let's see. Keenan. All right, let's share this screen. So Keenan Allen, a 20-point game, 23-point game, 24-point game. Wait, this can't be from last year. This is supposed to be from 2 years ago, right? No, this is from, wow, I didn't know he was that good. I knew he was okay. That's a tremendous run. The first half was terrible, kind of like Mark Andrews, like a really bad start. But 21, 23 and a half, 24, 20, 29. 5 20-plus point games. And you can get that guy, granted a different offense for sure, but you can get that guy for free because he's old and people thought he was fat last summer and he wasn't actually that fat. The Keenan Allen, that's going to be a defining stand for me this year. I will say that probably in every draft. Yoshivas here. We got a 2-5-7-3 build. We can definitely do a 6th RB if we want to at this point. I'm going to go Mostert. We made this Vegas bet. Mostert's still a viable click. Should get more Keaton Mitchell because I have a lot of leftover Justice Hill exposure, but we'll have the 6th RB in right now. So the team so far: Fields, Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, J.J. McCarthy, J.K. Dobbins, Ray Davis, Kyle Pitts, Pop Douglas, Mason Taylor, Deontay Thornton, and Raheem Mostert here. So late Vegas guys, mostly for funsies. I got to say, I don't love seeing all your guys at names now. But our guy Nolan here, I'm going to have to remember your real names. OMG Fantasy. Less reliant on physical traits like a D-Hop/Cooper Kupp. That is true. Or an Amari Cooper, yes. Cooper Kupp, I would say, should theoretically also age gracefully, though I suppose last year did not assuage those concerns for him. But yeah, I would agree. And again, like, Keenan Allen was legit good last year, for whatever it means. But he got more targets, was more efficient with them than both Moore and Odunze. Like, what more do you need to see? Saying take Keenan Allen over Tolbert? Yes. Yes. Take Keenan Allen no matter what, I think is the last pick. If he ends up not playing this year, I will owe all you guys an apology. I'll owe myself an apology. But like, really make sure you have 6 good receivers in front of them. And then if Keenan Allen doesn't play at all this year, you've still got 6 guys there. You've got enough of a room to survive. But I think for him, like, the potential to get a receiver who can legitimately give you, let's say he gives you half as many big weeks. He gives you only 4 games, or he gives only 3 games this year of 15 or 18 points. Who else are you getting that from? Like, in this range, especially at receiver, like maybe one of the tight ends, Higbee, Gray, who just went. I think they could do it. RB, a Lloyd, a Ford could do it theoretically. But yeah, that's the Keenan Allen take for me. Will be a hill I die on this year, unfortunately, or fortunately. Who knows? If I don't die on it, it'll be fortunate. If I do die on it, it'll be very unfortunate. I think I see my tight end here to hopefully close out my room. Theo Johnson, 20-round draft here. Think we need a little bit more at tight end because we did not get the elite like Laporta. And again, we took 4 tight ends on Underdog 2 in an 18-round draft last time, but I just felt good at the other positions. This time it's more on a necessity because I just don't think the tight end room is super great with Likely and Pitts as a top 2. I think we needed to get to 4 here with Mason Taylor and Theo Johnson. And technically Giants Vegas correlation 2 here. So a 2-6-7-4 build here. Last pick could be whatever. Is Drafters PPR? It is. It might be. Or is it another test chat? Yeah, you've now changed your @name. Our guy Robert Griffin III is now officially @Robert Griffin III. So if you want to go into YouTube, go claim your names, guys, because they're going to be visible on streams going through StreamYard moving forward. Last stage in our journey coming up, though, guys. Drafters draft. Again, last call as well. If you're going to sign up there and draft with me, promo code SPLASH, $100 deposit match on Drafters. We got one more pick left here on DraftKings before we head over to the other PPR site. 20-round draft on Drafters. No pods, no playoff pods, all that. So luck component goes out the window a little bit. And look, it's $500K, and you're going to be less competitive $500K you'll try to compete for this year. So I think it's a big strength in favor of Drafters. And frankly, just so you guys are aware, I'm going to enter the Drafters draft now. I just got 1 out of 12 spots filled. So this way, literally anybody who wants to get in can get in. So please do go to drafters.com. Use the promo code SPLASH. You got 9 spots available. I'll put it in the Discord as well. And that's it. Now 8 spots. But you can play with me on Drafters today coming up when we hit that room in a moment. We won't have to compete against each other either because we're not in the same pods. Brett likes his stacks. Okay. You got Penix. Again, week 17, though, you don't necessarily want to take Penix and Stafford together, especially taking them ahead of ADP. But I do like the Rams-Atlanta game environment for week 17 overall. I got my alarm going off. There we go. All right. Jackson Dart for free. We've got Fields. We've got McCarthy. I'm going to put Dart in the queue. Receiver, it's Tesla. Yeah. It really doesn't do a lot for me to take a Tesla. Ty Felton from Minnesota. If I wanted to stack with McCarthy, I could have done that. But I'll just take the third QB. So Fields, McCarthy, and Dart are 3 QBs. Only took 7 receivers, 6 RBs, but I feel like we spent more than enough capital to cover it. So I feel good about the buckets enough. The final team here, Fields, Gibbs, Bucky Irving. We're head over to Drafters. Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, J.J. McCarthy, part of our Minnesota-Detroit stack, J.K. Dobbins, Ray Davis, Kyle Pitts, Pop Douglas, part of our Jets-New England stack, Mason Taylor, part of that Jets thing, Dante Thornton, Raheem Mostert, Theo Johnson, Jackson Dart here. Dart was pure luxury. Not sure I needed him. I would take more Felton over Naylor personally, but I think they are similar ambiguous bets. If you're going to take them, probably should take them. If you're playing it the right way, you should take them equal amounts. That's that. We got 6 spots on Drafters, guys, so I don't know. Please help me fill the room on Drafters here. You guys know the deal. I'm sweating a little bit. It's like cool here today. It's 67, might be like 70 something now. It's cool here today, but for some reason the studio is as hot as it was when it was 90. Fucking killing me here. That was fun, but you don't love your team. Well, welcome to Best Ball. 112 in this room, taking a ton of zeros at RB. I think that was Philly Phantom. So that's let's go look at Philly Phantom's team. We got 6 spots on Drafters, so please, for the love of God, get in there. What did Philly Phantom do? Felton's an elite athlete, man. The fact that he went on that team, like it's not likely because Addison's been good enough and it seems like he's cruising to a second contract. But there's a world where like a Felton could pass, like if Addison really got suspended this year somehow, which I don't think will happen. He could do it. All right, so Philly Phantom took Caleb you took Kyron Williams, that's a good start. Caleb Johnson, Bashal Tootin, Rashard's. Well, yeah, you got to take more capital at RB, dude. The Kyron pick is good, but that's I would say that's too many upswings. Oh God, upside swings for you. Like you got to have some projection here. I think Caleb Johnson will play week 1. but you have a vet back ahead of him with Jalen Warren. You have another back there in Gainwell they can go to. You're not guaranteed anything. I think Kyron props up the room well enough because he should make your roster most weeks. But yeah, I see what Robert Griffin III was saying. Definitely a little thin at RB, but follow your heart. All right, back to drafters here. I'm just going to sit here and drink water. 5 spot. I don't know what to do to sell you guys here. Go to drafters.com. Use the promo code SPLASH. I don't have any slow draft picks, I don't think. Let me see. Maybe I do. I have some slow drafts. I have a couple slow drafts. All right. Well, we got 5 spots here. 4 spots left on drafters. Until this room fills, I'll do some slow drafts. So let's go over back to Underdog here. Technically adding more money into the $4.5 million I'm winning today. Let's go active. But I only have 1 draft here. Oh, thank you for explaining to you. TX Politics can't join, so I appreciate you giving me the excuse. Your excuse is approved. You're good to not draft today. Right, we got a Poodle team here. My Poodle start, a Neighbors Bowers start. Really brave by me. We got value on Chase Brown. Let's do that. Get that RB in. Chase Brown, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers. I like that start. And that's the only slow I have. My Schnauzer coming up. We got a Bo Nix Penix. Oh, Nix and Penix. That's fun. Chase Brown, Kyron, Kamara, Tyjae, Roshan. Nice little RB room. Neighbors, AJ Brown, Odunze, Mooney, Cup. I've starved this wide receiver room a bit too much, so I imagine I'm going to have to hit that coming up in this part. Tight end, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts. Feeling good about that. I've grown a lot this year. If not as a player, if not as a human, as a player. That's what I was going to say. 2 spots left on drafters, guys. Can't join poor. Can't join not illegal state. This hurts me. This hurts me, guys. Get some VPNs. But yeah, I think the building with rookies and project them too highly. I agree. I used to do that a couple years ago too. Last year I even probably did it too much with Bucky and that hit. And that, if it hits, it works out well. When it doesn't hit, though, you're absolutely murdering your portfolio. I don't know. I've gotten lucky with and I wouldn't say lucky. Like, obviously, I believe a lot in my prep, as we've talked about. Like, with Tyler Algier a couple of years ago, he was a huge part of my portfolio. That helped me get there. Like, if you hit on the rookies at the right ADPs, it works. The issue is this year, like, the rookies aren't at the right ADPs. Like, that's I think, the biggest difference to me with them. That's what it is. Oh, you joined the drafters draft? Okay. Hopefully with promo code SPLASH. Please. Again, guys, show some love on drafters. We got 1 spot left here. Who wants that golden ticket with promo code SPLASH? Use that promo code for a $100. I'm actually catching the football while this is up. $100 deposit match on drafters.com. Drafters app as well on the App Store. Lots of ways you can get that $100 in for yourself. Oh, man. Whoa. Oh, we good. The draft filled. We did it. We did it, gang. Last draft before I go on vacation and do more drafts in a different state. We got the 6-hole. Oh, my God, guys. We could do it again. If Gibbs comes back to 6. Wow, Saquon's down to 5. What are people on drafters? People on drafters have bumped CeeDee Lamb above Saquon Barkley? Get the fuck out. No chance. God, okay, I've said today, I think in some ways, Justin Fields, Keenan Allen, 2 of the best picks on the board relative to what they do. CeeDee Lamb ahead of Saquon, if he gets ahead of fucking Bijan, I don't know. Awful. CeeDee Lamb was not good last year. Like, what are we doing? He's not bringing in this new team of, like, gangbusters offensive scheme guys who've been dying for a chance to go nuts. He's bringing in Brian Schottenheimer, who's a fucking Nepo baby who runs the ball aggressively. I hate that ADP. This is me getting worked up. So I used to yell at people's lineups. That is awful. That's Saquon at 7? That's crazy. CeeDee Lamb at pick 4. No chance. No fucking chance. God, I really seeing CeeDee Lamb at 4 makes you want to flat fade Dallas. The public is wrong about Dallas. You can't hire a literal offensive line coach and you hire Brian Schottenheimer as like your head coach and probably your play caller. It's not going to be this pass-friendly offense. Maybe in PPR, you get lucky. You get him getting fucking 15 targets a game at a 7 dot or some bullshit. And you have Pickens there. Like, Pickens is going to fucking cry if he doesn't get targets. See CeeDee going, fuck out of here, man. Hate it. CeeDee wasn't good last year. People will defend the lack of Dak or whatever. He wasn't good before Dak got hurt. Hate that pick. But anyway, somebody take CeeDee Lamb so I can get Malik Neighbors back. Or you get Jahmyr Gibbs back, excuse me, not Malik Neighbors. I would love to complete 3 drafts in a row with a Gibbs Bucky start. Please tempt me with a good time. That's true. I'm just fudding CeeDee Lamb down for the room. No, I hope this guy takes him at 3. Please. Get CeeDee Lamb out of the way. All right, Bijan at 3. M the Great, you want CeeDee Lamb, take him. It's okay. He's a great click. Take him right at ADP, please. Somebody do, because I need to get Gibbs back. Jahmyr Gibbs is on the thumbnail, guys. It's a law. I have to. No! No! Oh. I still have to take him over. I hate this. If he's going to have an ADP of 4.4, I have to take him here. Fuck. All right. So here's why I hate CeeDee Lamb. Let's see. Maybe I'll find a way to make the case for him, but I don't think so. All right. CeeDee Lamb last year, really good target per out run at 30%. That's good. A 0.09 EPA per target would make him the worst high volume receiver in football. And again, I'll list a bunch of names here. Nico Collins, 0.35 EPA per target, so 4x better. Mike Evans, 0.29 EPA per target, 3x better. AJ Brown, 0.5 EPA per target, 5x better in a little bit. Devontae Adams, flat even at 0.09. So CeeDee Lamb, who's going at pick 4 on drafters, has the same EPA per target as Devontae Adams, who is effectively more washed than not. I think he's still lateral for Cooper Kupp, maybe a little bit better. He's not great. Juwan Jennings, 0.3 EPA per target. Malik Neighbors, 0.2 EPA per target. Drake London, 0.23. Literally any player I name. Rashee Rice, 0.38. CeeDee Lamb was effectively the least efficient he could possibly be in football. And now you're getting George Pickens coming in and likely a run-heavy approach. I've made my anti-CeeDee Lamb cases before, and I see I'm losing viewers. Maybe people like CeeDee Lamb. Maybe he's going to be this year's Saquon, and I'll be wrong about it. And the boomer offense is going to make him go nuts. But, you want players, in my opinion, you want players going in to exciting, progressive, effective 2025 pass-friendly offenses. I don't see how Dallas is that. I find it really hard to believe Dallas is that. That's my CeeDee Lamb take. I hope it's valuable. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. Wish it had made this guy Josh not take Gibbs, I don't think he heard me talking about CeeDee Lamb, though. But I'd have loved to have gotten 3 drafts with Gibbs, because I could have made the video title, Drafting Jahmyr Gibbs for $4.5 million, and that would have been fine. But now I'd be a liar. Derrick Henry came all the way back here, 15 ADP, getting him in 19. What is going on here? Henry at value, Barkley's moving down in ADP. Does drafters not like RB? Because the thing on drafters used to be is that they were little RB piggies. And now we're getting big values on bell cow backs. Okay, whatever. That will not stop some teams. Remember Antonio Pierce, who's the coach for the Raiders a couple years? He did not have a good RB couple years, and he still kept doing it. Will is the thing for a lot of teams. And I don't think, and look, maybe the Chargers last year were a team that I will say would have thought coming in, I thought they were going to be effective. It'd certainly be more effective than a Brian Schottenheimer, Clayton Adams combo. But I think that for Chargers last year, they wanted to come and run the ball. Like the pass rate was really under expectation last year to start the year, but they thought the defense was going to be better. The defense wasn't good. They had to sling it more. Maybe they also realized what they had in McConkey and Quentin Johnson was playing well enough, but I really feel like they couldn't get the success they wanted running the ball. They decided to pass more. For Dallas, I just think they want to pass as little as possible. But I just don't think that anything that Schottenheimer's shown in his career, and he literally takes everything from his daddy, because like he's a nepo baby. But like it's just all West Coast offense, power running stuff. And I don't think that's what you're going to win in 2025 and get great fantasy results from. The PPR with CeeDee Lamb, it is possibly PPR scams his way to a big run out. Like they've talked about the offense being largely one that's trying to get guys the ball in space, do something after the catch, which is usually code word for low A dot stuff, trying to get guys to run afterwards. CeeDee Lamb could do well with that, but I just don't buy it. I personally hate Dallas. Really, really hate Dallas. What if Lamb is our RB1? It's possible. He'll probably get some targets out of the backfield, I would think. Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb are two wonderful picks here. I will go to Marvin Harrison here. I mean, we got to make it up at receiver because of how bad CeeDee Lamb is. So we'll take Marvin Harrison at pick 30. I think Lamar would be an okay click here as well. Just try to get the Baltimore correlation and scoop up all the rushing touchdowns, besides the few Justice Hill leave behind. But I think really we got Henry as the bell cow. I'm cool with that for now. Oh, Josh, he did hear me talking about Lamb. Oh, well, I fucked myself then. Never mind. I didn't know Josh was in all the chats. But shout out to all you guys hanging out here. And again, if you are playing on Drafters, please use the promo code SPLASH. I'm also going to move myself down here because it's probably easier for you guys to see the board. Honestly, there's nowhere to put myself that works well on Drafters, I feel like. So I could edit this. Can I make this screen bigger? Nope. Can't do that. Gonna make it wider. I could do that. That'll work. Now you can't see ADPs. I don't know where to put my face here, guys. But let's try it here. Update layout. All right. You can see more of the board now. Fucking A, man. Can't believe I got stuck with CeeDee Lamb here. Was it purely just the ADP? You had to click Lamb over Neighbors there? Yeah, and it's also because I'm just not going to get a lot of Lamb. Like, if Lamb's going to go reliably at pick 4, I won't take him there. I'd rather take Barkley. I'd rather take Bijan. I'd rather take Gibbs. So naturally to me, when those 3 are gone, plus Jefferson and Chase, Lamb is the option to take left. Because I think I'll naturally get enough Neighbors. But I think Lamb is still a better click than Neighbors. In my rankings, I still have Lamb at the 1-2 turn because he excites me the least out of Neighbors, Puka, Nico. Amon-Ra and CeeDee are closer for me this year, but I would still put Amon-Ra ahead by a little. But if I do that, I'm just never going to get Lamb, and I don't want to get 0. So that's how I feel about it. But I do think he's a shitty click. I really think the Dallas offense is just going to be dog shit. It's really the main bet, I would say. We got a pick coming up here. Let's see what Mr. Poopy Butthole does next to me. And when you're next to a poopy butthole, sometimes you're going to get shit on. But he does. I just came up with that, guys. That's the kind of quality takes you get here. Ted McMillan here again, I think is a nice click. RB bled out at this point. Not going to go up and get Hampton. So Derrick Henry start, CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Ted McMillan. If Lamb's not great, he'll still spike enough here that I think having Harrison and McMillan around him, they can carry some water if we need to. 1 hour work draft break. After draft 420 break, missed the draft. Well, you did the best you could. You did the best you could. Yeah, the first 3 rounds right now, my least made clicks are probably Rashee Rice, CeeDee Lamb. Round 3. Round 3, I don't get a lot of McLaurin. Don't feel sure. Tyreek would be one of my least round 3 clicks. Really take him as a good value. Josh Jacobs too. I never take Josh Jacobs. So if you want to fade me directly in your best ball exposures, take all the CeeDee Lamb. I mean, that's number 1. Just make your new slogan. That's what I'm here for marketing, branding, slogans. When you join the channel, you get a lot of things for free. All right, we got a couple picks for us here. I'm gonna take some water. Make sure to check out yesterday's 420 draft as well. I thought that was a fun video. Again, I try to make this as fun as possible, but sometimes content's gonna be a little better, and I can feel it in my bones. So watch that stream if you have some time. But if not, rotten hell, you know the usual things we say, promote content. Well, I think we're leaning in here, boys. What if the Dallas offense is the most explosive offense in football? And you get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens going off ping-pong in big days? That's what you got to do. I hate this bet, but the team so far, Derrick Henry, our bell cow RB, CeeDee Lamb as a huge value here on Drafters, had to take him. Marvin Harrison, Ted McMillan, George Pickens here, also a little bit of a value. So we got a nice little discounted Dallas stack, which, again, if you don't like teams, don't like players, you still should take them. Just take them as a discount. So I think I'm doing it the right way, even though I have vocalized my concerns for Dallas. Let's see. Clayton Adams. Here's your Cowboys OC. This guy right here. Does this scream explosive pass game offense to you? Second season after being hired as the team's offensive line coach. Tight ends coach the last couple years of Indianapolis. Offensive line coach as an assistant. 14 years at the collegiate level. Stanford's O-line coach. Run game coordinator. Played center, run game coordinator, offensive line coach. What about this says, hey, go get CeeDee Lamb for the most explosive offense you've ever seen? Nothing. But I believe in the importance of knowing your coaches. That tells you a lot about what you're going to get offensively. The lifelong Dallas fan can't stop laughing at the thought of this being a great year. Well, there you go. I mean... And it's also, too, like for the NFC East, all the teams have gotten better. Dallas is keeping together a core that's probably like not championship caliber. And I'm not saying this like, again, I grew up a Cowboys fan. I wish they were good. I wish they still had the heights because like the league is more fun when Dallas is good. What have they done? Like they can't even sign their guys. They don't take too long to pay them to the point these guys get angry. I don't get it. You love to hear it. Well, of course, a Philly fan would. But, I mean, look, Giants got better. Commanders were an NFC title game last year, and they probably had no rights to be. They should be better this year. I don't know. DeAndre Swift's going to be my click here. Just not team RJ Harvey at this ADP. Swift, I think, is very much worth a top 70 pick. In a world where Tony Pollard's going to go 64, where James Conner's going to go 63, DeAndre Swift at 67 is the correct click, in my opinion. But out of all the offseason offensive coordinator hires, Clayton Adams was my least favorite. Every other team, pass game coordinator from a top offense, that's where you have the shot at it being. We're bringing in the best parts here of what worked from this team. We're going to sling it. That's your hope. Former O-line coach, former tight end coach, they run it. They might run it well. They're going to run it. Not saying you're wrong, but this year the offense is all on Dak. They kept Shoddy because Dak wanted him. I look, Dak's given some positive quotes. I just don't know how you throw out a coach's entire career. Like I would actually, and this is going to be a little bit different because like the Cowboys offense with Mike McCarthy was a little bit more aggressive at points throughout the stint. So if you want to give Schottenheimer credit for that, you could. But I would go through Brian Schottenheimer's career, and I would encourage anybody to find me a year where there was a good Brian Schottenheimer offense. Besides, besides these Dallas ones, that's all I would say. But Hey, I could be wrong. So it's ambiguous. But the point for me is like, if it's ambiguous, why are these guys so expensive? And Dallas is the only team I'm beating up. Like I beat up on Indianapolis too. Like fucking Downs and Pittman are way too expensive. What do we think the Colts offense is going to be? What changed that is going to be going to make it so much worlds better for those guys? Adding in another high target per out run tight end for Dallas, it's just like, what changed? You added in coaches that are not as analytically savvy potentially. Mike McCarthy, his claim to fame was that when he was between jobs, he spent a year working with Mike Tannenbaum's 33rd team guys, building a coaching staff, but based on kind of best analytics practices. Then they moved away from that in Dallas the last couple of years, and I don't know. I think it's what you're getting with Schottenheimer. But I've made enough of the case here. Now we'll find out in 90 days. We'll find out now at this point. How many days is NFL season? NFL opening day. Days until September 4th. 69 days. Oh, that's fun. 69 days till football season, guys. We lost out on Gibbs. We'll take David Montgomery here. Unfortunately, we took the shitty Dallas stack instead of getting Gibbs. So we'll get leverage against Gibbs here with David Montgomery. Yes, it is nice. It is 69 days. How could it not be nice? Now we know that I want Downs Pittman. I wish this were my bid. I wish I were capable of lying to entire stream rooms, people watching content after a draft just so I could get players. Wish I had that in me. But I think you guys probably grasp the most that not good at hiding my emotions, perhaps the best out of all the streamers in the world. So I think that's one thing that I could agree with most people that would assess these streams on. Good RB pocket coming up here. My guy Mooney floating around as well. I'm going to end up with a ton of Mooney this year, which is, again, crazy to me. But what's Mooney's numbers from last year? Mooney, 0.33 EPA per target, 22% target per out run, 1.4 deep targets a game for over a 1 EPA per target. That is, that's what we look at. CeeDee Lamb wishes he could do that. Actually, for comparison, CeeDee Lamb last year on deep targets, he was pretty good. 0.9 a game, 0.75 EPA. He was no Darnell Mooney, but he was pretty good. Taking Mooney if he comes back to me. Okay, well, that's fair. He's the top receiver on the board. I'm not going to be mad at you. But I love Mooney. Mooney is definitely a click for me that I probably too cozy with doing over and over again. But I will continue to be cozy with. A couple of picks before mine here. I think I've got nice flexibility, though, with the 3 RB start. Pretty decent balance. We've reunited the former Detroit teammates here with Swift and Montgomery. Oh, it's fine. I mean, Mooney didn't come back to you anyway, so sucks for everybody. But Mooney's a great click in the range. He, to me, is the tier break here. Like Cooper Kupp as wide receiver 5 is fine. Mooney, though, I think is your tier break at receiver is probably the move. We got Fields here again for the 100th time, but we have no Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go Hockenson here. Semi-elite tight end, good target earner. Should be a good safety blankie for JJ McCarthy in year 1. I'm happy to do that. Team so far, 3 RBs, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery. A receiver, our beloved CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Tet McMillan, and George Pickens. Now at tight end, TJ Hockenson here. So definitely would love to get Dak Prescott if feasible. Can fall back on McCarthy, Bryce Young, who I do like. Kyler Murray is almost definitely not coming back, but if he does, he could be an option as well. I really do believe the Gibbs clicks with Bucky were a little more fun on stream. But Derrick Henry going after ADP, I think that works. I see there's a quote that just came through from Underdog NFL, which actually I would like to pull this up on screen and read it because I think it's going to be worth it. Let's see. Tyrone Tracy on Giants rookie QB Jackson Dart. Mr. Cool Dude coming in with the swagger. Kind of that Italian vibe. But he's not Italian. He's got a lot of confidence, but he also has a lot of humility. He understands that he doesn't know it all. Kind of like that Italian vibe, but he's not Italian. That's, Malik Neighbors like, I only know QB. I only know Tommy DeVito at QB. And that's all I can compare to. But Jackson Dart reminds him perhaps of Tommy DeVito. That's what you're getting. That is a very funny quote. I like Malik Neighbors. Move him ahead of CeeDee Lamb. That quote alone is probably better than anything CeeDee Lamb's going to do this year. Shouts to all you guys hanging out here. We got a couple picks coming up, but do appreciate all you hanging out. Friday before a week that feels like it's like a holiday week. Like I feel like nobody's going to be doing work with July 4th on the Friday. But shouts to all you guys hanging out here. Again, show some love if you can. Hit the like button, subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. There's one dude showed you my gambling, getting passionate about hating certain teams. Sometimes, for the most part, trying to approach this intelligently. And unfortunately, that means sometimes taking CeeDee Lamb. All right, we've got a 2-4-1 build here. No QB. Fields here. Nice 10-pick discount at this point. Really no other player want to go up and get. Ayuk's a decent value here. I'm just going to take Fields again. I just can't let him go by here. If he's still available at pick 102, but he's got a 92 ADP on drafters, I'm going to take Fields. So I'm taking Fields here. Certainly would love to still get Dak. If you're telling me, like, if I have to pick Fields or wait on Bryce Young, if I have to pick Fields, couldn't get Kyler Murray, Fields or JJ McCarthy, Fields is going to outscore these guys, in my opinion, pretty often. And if you want to, frankly, wrap your head around, you're confused by me ranting against Dallas so angrily, you understand how I view football. I'm excited about the Jets because the guy they hired was the Detroit Lions former pass game coordinator, Tanner Engstrom. And he's a guy that's coming in from having been in that organization for a few years, being a part of the decision-making group with Ben Johnson, who I would hope we all agree is one of the best offensive coordinators in football. You talk about for Dallas, offensive line coach, going from coordinator jobs, doing that same thing over and over again, tight end work, mostly run dominant stuff, and you get those coaches versus guy coming from an offense that balanced pass and run really well. Some would say beautifully even, and created a lot of value for the pass game, saved Jared Goff's career. That's why I like certain teams and why I don't like certain teams. And Fields is certainly a big disparity. I view the Jets very differently than I do Dallas. Dallas has better Super Bowl odds, though. So if you're following the markets, I'm wrong. We got Fields here as our first QB. 3 RBs with Henry, Swift, Montgomery. 4 receivers with a Dallas stack. Harrison and Tet. We've got Hawkinson as well. And I think we just take Dak here. I think we could try to push Dak around with that Q tag on him. But let's get him out of the way. So Fields and Dak Prescott are 2 QBs. Dallas double stack completed, which we kind of had to do with the bet we have on Lamb and Pickens here. If those guys both hit at ADP, Dak probably put up 5,000 passing yards this year, would be my guess. If I push Dak, Panda will take him. Well, thank God I didn't. Why would he take him? Is he? I mean, Nolan has done, our guy OMG Fantasy here has done his almost 150. You've done what, like 120 and change? Probably up to 130 would be my guess. So I presume you've seen Panda draft enough to know that he will just scoop the guys. So will he take Caleb Williams then unstacked now? McCarthy's underpriced if JJ Addison and Hawk are correct. Probably true. Frankly, that's the case for a lot of QBs this year. Because you could say the same thing for Mahomes. Like if those guys pay off, Mahomes is underpriced as well. If Worthy and Rice in particular, even Kelsey at where he's going. And there we go. Nolan is correct that he did take 1 QB. Took industry favorite Drake May there at pick 120. I didn't push Dak, which is fine. Really no rhyme or reason for me why sometimes I do push QB, sometimes I don't. Mostly comes down to, do these other picks on the board make me want to pass on the QB here? And Javonte, Tyjae Spears, okay clicks. Not ones I'm going to pass up Dak Prescott for. I certainly would have preferred Tyjae over Javonte Williams here, so I'm not sure I'm going to go that way. We got Luther Burden, Kyle Williams, Marvin Mims. Definitely feels like a tier break. Want to get the receiver in. I mean, Kyle Williams needs to fall. Burden is a tempting click for me because this was a guy that at one point went top 100, but we'll now go Mims. I think Burden's got more of a floor, more of a fall coming. He should be healthy for training camp, though, so if you're one of those people that like Luther Burden coming out, you should still probably like him. I think he'd be a better bet to me, the 150s. So I think he needs DJ Moore to fail to really hit his true upside to pay off his ADP, really. Bird, not a great target earner at Missouri. Very good after the catch, though. Highest avoided tackle rate of any receiver in the class. Taking unstacked Dak in like half of his drafts. Interesting. I don't get why. Unstacked Fields. I think we could all agree that makes sense. Unstacked Dak. Who knows? All right, a few picks before mine here. I feel like the energy always starts to wane here at hour 2. It's where it's like the room gets sapped. The chat energy starts to wane. Mine starts to wane. You need to find a way to keep it up. I'm just gonna do coke, and we do weed on Thursdays. The Friday stream in hour 2, we're gonna do it. I think what I am gonna do though next week, because I'm not able to do a 420 draft on Thursday because I will be in Florida. I'm not bringing weed with me. It's not worth me getting fucking busted for weed while I'm with my child and wife. So I'll be taking a tolerance break next week. But I'll probably do a power hour draft here next week at one point. Not sure if it'll be for the 3-way, but definitely for, I think, the Thursday stream I will do I'll commit to doing a power hour on stream. Why not? Make it fun for myself. Because the worst case is nobody watches and I'm drunk at the end. I think it's a win-win. Keep forgetting I get notifications for drafters on my Apple Watch. And I'm like, why am I getting It's like, oh, because I'm about to pick. I'm on deck on drafters. We got Rachaad White here. I do think rounds out this RB room pretty well. We're just going to take him here. Rachaad White, Bucky Irving gets hurt. He'll do well. If the Bucks somehow want to put the genie back in the bottle of too much Bucky Irving usage, Rachaad White will excel. But this draft here, so you know what? We couldn't get Gibbs and Bucky Irving for a third straight draft and a third straight platform. It didn't work out that way, but we did get Montgomery and Rachaad White. So we've got direct leverage on Gibbs and Bucky here as well. So it worked out. And sometimes that's how easy best ball is. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't know where you are in Florida. I presume we're not super close, but if you want to DM me, Mr. Rebuttal, okay. But I'm going to try to take a tolerance break because it seems like a good time to do it. Then I can come back and I'll be smoking less weed. I think it'd be the hope. Florida's a big state. I do know that from my time in Florida. If you're a Dallas RB, it costs, especially since we're jamming into our line repeatedly with all due respect. I think it's still Javonte, probably, but Miles Sanders is too cheap for an ambiguous backfield. Jaden Blue, I have a hard time getting there. I really don't think he'll earn a fantastic role in year one, but I would say it's Javonte. I think the team's just going to be shit, to be totally honest. Like, I don't think they're going to be good this year. I think Pickens is going to tear the team down from the inside. Yeah, see, like, I don't know if I can get out to Orlando, and I wouldn't ask you to come to Bradenton. So I appreciate the sentiment, though. Thank you, Mr. Poopy Buttle. That's very kind of you to offer. See, you shouldn't refuse to draft Sanders. If you're going to embrace an ambiguous backfield, you should take both sides of it. I strongly believe that. We've got 5 receivers, 4 RBs, but we have Henry as our anchor back. Algier gives us some leverage. Ferguson, again, if we're going after Dallas, let's just get the stack, right? So Ferguson it is. Oh, God. God. It's going to be one of the worst things of the year when this is my best team across every best ball platform. I'm going to be so sad when it's a Dallas stack I'm rooting for and Fields without Garrett Wilson. 2 things I really don't like very much. Derrick Henry I like. Ted I like. Hawkinson no issue with. Swift I like. Rachaad White at cost works. But I have to say, just because of how I feel about Dallas, not my favorite team this year that we built on Drafters. I built a lot of clean teams on Drafters this year that I think hit all the notes that all of my player takes, for the most part, crammed in. That's it. This would mean, sure, if Rachaad White hits the nuts outcome, Bucky going down, that would absolutely be a bummer for me. My Bucky exposure has got to be pretty high at this point. Bucky for me currently on Underdog with those 69 BBMs. Oh, I've got Bucky 16% overall, 13% in BBM. So I'm above the field. Could get a little bit higher. I think Bucky's price tag comes up throughout the summer. I just don't think the weight of what he accomplished last year, I don't think people have recognized that enough. To put up 1,500 yards when you were not the anointed starter, fucking crazy, like what he did last year. And frankly, his projections as well down the fantasy playoff run, every week he's projected for like 18, 19 fantasy points. I think it's going to get worse in year 2. All right, we're on the clock here. I think it's possible that Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift score touchdown in different ways. I like Wan'Dale more, though, to round out this wide receiver room. So I'm going to take him here. I think on a PPR site, Wan'Dale Robinson being a guy who would have a ton of contingent value if Neighbors went down, but also just going to be a guy getting some checkdowns. I think that works for him. So Wan'Dale, wide receiver 6. I have some guys I would like on the way back. We're cool for now. Respect that there. I mean, look, for Javonte, I have no idea how much Javonte I have. Let's see. Right now, for my Dallas exposure in BBM, I actually have 7% Javonte. Only 1.4% Miles. I am not making that bet correctly in BBM. I think I've taken Miles more in the 20 maxes. Yeah, I've got 5% Miles across everything. So I've been taking him more in the cheaper tournaments, I guess. Be a Miles Sanders bailout, RB6. That's an okay click. Our team so far, let's give it a read because we got a few picks before we come up. Fields and Dak Prescott as QB. Dak obviously very stacked up. Fields not so stacked up. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Rachaad White is the RB room right now. Definitely have to add at least one more body. It's a 20-round draft, so probably 2. I was hoping Braylon Allen would come back, but he just goes. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Ted McMillan, George Pickens, Marvin Mims, and Wan'Dale Robinson. The Wan'Dale Robinson sliding door is going to bother me a little bit because we did pass up Roschon here, which is fine because we have Swift. Passing up Braylon Allen, I like that bet with him and Fields together. Maybe we'll take a free Isaiah Davis later. But a tight end, Hawkinson and Ferguson here. Ferguson, of course, part of that massive Dallas stack for all the upside they're going to hit. If you're going to make the case for Dallas, the one thing, and this is one too, where like I just don't know how people are into Kevontae Turpin, a guy that people have asked me a ton about. I think at this point, the bet is just that the offense is so consolidated with CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, and Pickens that those guys can get there. I'm going to go Pop Douglas, I think, here. No, Rico Dowdle's a tier break. Let's go stupid Rico Dowdle. I'm not a buyer on Trevor Etienne, as we talked about. Rico Dowdle, RB5 here. Got a Carolina bet with Ted McMillan. I think it makes sense. This team seems not bad. It's just not. I don't know. I'm the most critical of myself. I think that, well, that's not true. People are very critical of me that aren't me. I try to be critical of myself, though. I just think this team could have been a little bit better. But I'm going to be biased against it because I just don't like the Dallas parts. And if I'd gotten a different player there, if I'd taken Puka, the team would look totally different. If Gibbs had fallen to me, the team would look totally different. So I don't know what the sliding doors of this would be. It's kind of Dallas or bust. Long thoughts on the turn here. Keenan Allen at 180, though. Still a good click. Though, frankly, Keenan Allen at this price tag, Alec Pierce can outscore him. Dyami Brown can outscore him. Jalen Noel can outscore him. Michael Wilson's here, gets a little bit thornier. I'd probably, accounting for the free agency, risk that Keenan Allen just retires or gets morbidly obese. Though he's been on streams and he's not too fat, so I think he's fine. I probably wouldn't take Keenan Allen before Alec Pierce and Dyami Brown. And Jalen Noel. There's still a chance that Jalen Noel becomes Tank Dell this year just because of what he represents athletically and size-wise. They don't have in that rotation. He won't get as many snaps as Tank Dell would have gotten because you're going to have Christian Kirk ahead of him coming out of the slot. But I think Noel is still a nice little big swing. Miles Sanders goes to Mr. Poopy Butthole, so we can't stack him up. Sad. We can take Dyami Brown here. I think he's still a nice click in round 16. Missed the days earlier in the drafter cycle, and that's just how best ball goes, obviously, in the beginning part of a draft process. You used to be able to get Dyami Brown round 20, round 19, round 18 for a while. Now he is actually in the draftable range pretty much every day. But he is your first Jacksonville new regime signing. That shit matters. I hear music playing in the background. That must mean Alex is either on the Peloton or fucking bopping something. I don't know. Or I'm having a stroke and the music is just playing inside my head. Choose your option. But shout out to all you guys who've hung out. 2-hour and 15-minute stream here. Looking like we got another 10 or so left. So do appreciate all you've hung out for the entire stream. And even if you only watched part, shout out for you guys hanging out here. I know there's always competing streams going on. So your support goes a long way for me. Just getting one dude here. Showing you my work. Not padding it out with guests and shit every day because I don't care. I care what you guys have to say. Besides that, I don't really care what anybody has to say. We got Giddens, Ford, Dylan Sampson here. I think we're trying to prop up a room late. I think Ford's the click. Sampson is the big swing. I just really cannot forget Jalen Wright coming out and how much everybody sucked his dick. How much everybody thought he was so great. He was also a great athlete, much like Dylan Sampson is. Also a burner, just like Dylan Sampson is. You know what all the reviews were of Jalen Wright coming out of college when he was actually playing for Miami and on the field and like even in practice? He wasn't ready for prime time. I think that's what you're going to find out with Dylan Sampson this year as well. I think that's why Jerome Ford actually has some utility, because if Judkins can't hold up in pass pro, if Sampson's not going to be trusted reliably enough, Ford can hit, and he's free. So my Jerome Ford case, not as impassioned as my anti-Dallas case, but I think it's still viable enough. Thank you. What is this? Good try, Chris, but the $500,000 is mine. Better luck next year. I appreciate the confidence. Come on, Josh. I think in reality, we all know the $500,000 is going to go to somebody that did something really fucking stupid. It's going to annoy everybody involved. It's how it goes. Who else has a fun click left at this point? QB still got AR on the board, and not anymore. You got Shuck on the board. Shuck doing some podcasts and shit. People seem to like him enough. Russell Wilson, still an okay click if you needed it. Dart, Shador, I'm not really taking those guys. Kirk, definitely not. Beat reporters for Cleveland. I think I mentioned this on a stream earlier in the week, but I should probably say it more often. Flacco, I think people think is going to start. The beat reporters strongly believe it's going to be Pickett, and they're talking about it almost like the front office has told them that directly. Then Flacco will be the backup, and then we'll see what happens to the guys behind them. In particular, Dylan Gabriel and Shador, who are live to play at some point. I think Pickett, though, he's an okay click. Not an exciting click, but if you like Cleveland stacks, I don't. If you're taking Cleveland stacks and you just need a QB, I'd probably take Pickett over Flacco. Yeah, I wouldn't call it Pickett's season, but he's a player. 20th round for QB is getting real ugly. RB at this point, again, if you're picking 18, 19, 20, Dylan Sampson still an okay click. Blake Corum, probably still contingent value for Kyron Williams most meaningfully. Raheem Mostert is going to be in the mix. I'm surprised he's still available. Sean Tucker, one guy goes down for Tampa Bay. It's over. You're going to get Sean Tucker in the mix immediately. Receiver. I'm going to go with the old 7th RB here. I think Mostert's still got utility. I think Mostert here, Ford is not the strongest RB6, so I'm going to add a 7th one on. A receiver, we've got 7, and I feel pretty good about the grouping here. One more receiver, one more tight end feels about right to me. Tight end, though, is pretty dead. Team so far, Fields and Dak Prescott at QB. At RB, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Rashad White, Rico Dowdle, Jerome Ford, Raheem Mostert. A receiver, of course, my beloved CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Tet McMillan, George Pickens, Marvin Mims, Wan'Dale Robinson, Diami Brown. And then a tight end, Hawkinson and Ferguson here. Of course, Ferguson completing the Dallas stack that we all know is going to crush this year. Doesn't matter. Hire more offensive line coaches to call your plays or to just design your entire scheme. You're going to do great. You tried this new honey chipotle chicken or whatever. Chipotle nosedive into the bowl right now currently. I had it when it first came out. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that it's like much better than the others. I feel like the one weird one or the one special release one they put out that I liked was the brisket. I thought that was pretty good. But besides that, I don't know. I don't get Chipotle that often these days. I should get it more, to be honest, because probably your most affordable, non-calorie bomb thing you can eat. Definitely better than ordering a Dairy Queen fucking chili dog. I think we can all agree on that, though. I will say those Dairy Queen chili dogs, man. Whew. They hit in a variety of ways. Team Chili Dog, me, you, Sonic the Hedgehog. 3 great men who love chili dogs more than we should. Ayumanor here, Lockett here. I think for a room like this, a receiver, we're just kind of adding on some guys, picking and choosing guys that have upside. I think Lockett's one of those guys. Talked about it yesterday. Hate how Lockett played in Seattle last year, but it's a new start for him. I think Cam Ward is extremely talented. I also think that the beat reporters have made me fear for Restrepo actually making the team. Restrepo, if he didn't run a fucking 5-flat 40, I think he would have been a legit NFL prospect. Good target earner at Miami. But I think most likely he got glowed up a good amount by Cam Ward. I think that Lockett has a shot at being useful one more time in his career here in Tennessee. He's certainly old enough, though, that I don't think you need to take Tyler Lockett a ton. If Keenan Allen's there, take him over Tyler Lockett. All right, 1 pick left. And again, last call here for Drafters promo. $100 deposit match on Drafters. You guys know the deal. They are the presenting sponsor of these shows. In fact, a lot of sites out there don't allow people who are partnered with them to draft on their sites. Drafters, in fact, approved me, and I asked them, like, hey, can I draft on all the sites this year and make that part of what we're doing? And that's where Drafters cares about the customers a little bit more than I think you're going to get sometimes. And, you know, it is what it is. But you get special deals as well. You put in 10 entries, you get one free. You put in 25, get another one free. If you end up putting 150 in, I think you get 10 entries for free over the course of that. I forget exactly how the math works, but good rake back deals on Drafters. Like, the little things that help you squeeze out an edge and money, things that guys like Nolan, who's doing his 150 in June to get the most bonus he can, you get them on drafters. So I think that's a big thing. In addition to the fact that some of my best finishes have been on drafters, putting in the least amount of effort. And that's something for you guys out there. We all want to win on Underdog. We all want to win big on DraftKings and be able to flex that. But if I won 500K on drafters, if I finish top 10, like some of the guys in our community have on drafters in the last few years, great. It's the money. The money still spends, guys, even if you're not as into the brand as much, even if they don't have cute little logos to put on t-shirts as much. I do wish drafters had like a fun logo thing, you know? Give me a little like animated guy. Give me a talking beer. Why can any site make a talking beer their mascot? I once, for a PowerPoint I did at USC, we made the girl I had hooked up with and was doing a presentation. Really one of the best of both worlds, because we had to work really hard at this presentation. Was able to hook up with her because we had to work so hard at this presentation. One of the highlights of my college career. So that's why it comes up here. She was Tridel, great win for the Spags regime. Point being, though, was that we did a presentation. I forget what it was about, getting drinking back at USC, because we were at USC and they had banned drinking at the Coliseum. We made a mascot called Beery. So I think drafters maybe can buy the rights to Beery, the mascot, for me, who was just a clip art beer. But he had a lot of spunk. I think they could use a mascot like that. Anyway, we got Elijah Arroyo here, Tyler Conklin, Taysom Hill, Noah Gray. I think Noah Gray is still a viable click. Will Dissly, also not a bad click, even though people are afraid of Conklin there. Dissly's getting paid a lot more money. But I want to get a third tight end. Noah Gray, as I've mentioned, one of the few tight ends that are free on all the sites. He goes behind guys like Arroyo. I think there's a world where Noah Gray gives you like one of those low-key years like Keenan Allen. We went through his week-by-week scores before. I think you could see this year 4 Noah Gray games over 18 fantasy points, and it just would not be a crazy thing to me. I think he's the only tight end you're going to get that from this late, so that's why he's my click. Final team here, a 2-7-8-3. It's been a journey to get these all done today. We got Justin Fields and Dak Prescott at QB. At RB, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Rashad White, Rico Dowdle, Jerome Ford, Raheem Mostert. So 7 RBs here, but the bottom 4 are of more middling quality for sure. So we added volume there. We're definitely hoping Derrick Henry carries most of the water for this team and has one more great year for us. CeeDee Lamb at receiver. Of course, I gave the anti-case a lot here, but I picked 6. How could you refuse? Marvin Harrison, Ted McMillan, George Pickens, part of that Dallas stack. Mims, Wan'Dale Robinson, Diami Brown, Tyler Lockett. Back half of the receiver rooms definitely got a type here. Smaller PPR guys, but that was, I would say, deliberate choice. And in tight end, TJ Hawkinson, Jake Ferguson, Noah Gray are it. That's the room here. Look, I liked the Bucky Gibbs teams a little bit more. Like the Underdog one I built was really good. The DraftKings one a little bit less good. This team still works. It's just you can't always sometimes get the players you want to get. You can't always get the fun guys. I think in this one we got, I would say, some less fun guys. Less mushrooms involved on this team for sure. But shout out to all you guys who've hung out today. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, goes a long way. Do check out Drafters as well. $100 deposit match if you want to draft me on stream here. Doing Drafters drafts many times a week. So please show some love. The numbers only going to get bigger here down the home stretch. So join me on drafters.com or download the Drafters app. Use the promo code SPLASH. You can also click the link in the description if you want to get over there. And check out the Discord too. $5 to join here. Any membership you get in the channel, whether it's one that includes my rankings or if it's one that you're just joining for supporting the show, you get access to the Discord. It's a great place to be, good community. Lots of guys I actually like on there, which, as you know, watching these streams, there aren't a ton of them in the world. So you're really putting them all in one Discord together. But really happy with the community we're building there. It's always going to be ongoing as this content continues on. So join the community here, and definitely the convo is going to pick up in the heat of best ball season, as well as heading into NFL, NBA. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff there for those sports coming up. But gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. You can also download on the podcast apps if you want to. Do make sure to put this episode every week on there for you guys that have a commute. If I don't see you guys next week, enjoy your 4th of Julys. I will be on stream next week from Florida, so I'm going to pack up my production shit here, hit the road with it, and we'll draft. We'll draft some teams. But thanks for all the guys who hung out. In particular, the chat today was a lot of fun talking to all you guys, and I will see you all again soon. Enjoy your weekends. Good luck. And any gifts? Here's Daffy jerking off. Here's Daffy Duck. Ah. I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Happy 4th. Whatever. See you next. But I'll be here next week. So I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.